How do you do? The Box Office Pulp Board feels it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning.
Welcome, everybody, to Box Office Pulp. You are in for what I want to say is a very special treat, but that's a lie. I have no idea why we are subjecting ourselves to, I'll call it an experiment, and I also don't understand why you're going to sit here and listen to it. I'm hoping it's hypnotic enough where you just can't leave. With that preamble done, what we're doing today is providing a commentary for our Inception commentary. We had to go deeper. We're doing it. We're gonna provide a layer of commentary over top of a layer of commentary, and you're going to end up with like a 7-layer taco dip that probably will not be delicious. I can't make any guarantees. So what we're doing right now, I have the movie queued up, and I have the commentary queued up, and I'm going to try and sync these together so I can watch the movie with the subtitles on while I listen to myself talk from last year, and then talk over myself talking from last year. You, at home audience, should not have to actually listen to 2 layers of me.
We're also here,
That's
by the way.
Hey.
I was getting
I know. For a split second, I was like, fuck, we should just have Cody do this by himself.
Goodbye, everybody.
It's our
I didn't write an intro here, so I'm just winging it, guys. No.
All right, so a few technical points for the people listening. I don't know if anybody listening to this is A, going to play this along with the movie, or B, play this along with our old commentary. I wouldn't recommend it because that shit would get confusing.
That's a thing you had to say. I just love how that's a predisposition for something that has to be done for this stupid idea that came up.
Now I know you want to hear our luxurious, silky voices, double teaming your ear holes. But do not fly too close to the sun on wings of pulp.
Oh, that's beautiful. Can we steal that for the intro? Actually, every episode we come up with a better tagline than what we have, and I think Flying Too Close to the Sun on Wings of Pulp is definitely up there as one of the better ones we've had. Anyways.
In this case, it's true, because we're going to end up burning.
Oh, yeah, someone's going to have, like, horrible disfigurements.
Yeah, what you're about to listen to is an endurance test. As we listen to, on old commentary, with our voices significantly pitched down so that we all sound like Darth Vader. Otherwise, it would get confusing for us very quickly.
And it is 2 hours and 30 minutes of us.
Well, it's not exaggerated. It's like 2 hours and 28 minutes.
No, the file we're listening to is 2:30.
Oh, yeah.
My technical
point...
let's
not under-exaggerate. It's actually 2 hours and 30 minutes and 47 seconds.
The technical point I was making earlier was... if you decide to listen to our commentary at the same time, please don't. But at least so you know what we're doing. The file we're pressing play on to listen to our commentary starts directly after the 1, 2, 3 countdown James gave for the other commentary to start it properly. So no preamble that we're doing, and just when we started the actual commentary proper from the episode that's been posted.
To clarify and make this slightly more confusing, if you were to hit play on your Inception Blu-ray or DVD at the same time we finish our 1, 2, 3 countdown in just a moment, you would be synced up to the movie, but you would be off a commentary.
So you would accomplish nothing.
What is this?
Educational. Anyways, is everyone prepared to take this journey?
No, we're not. I'm mad that we promised that we would do this in the Inception commentary.
Yeah.
Hold on. I forgot. We need to take bets.
Okay.
So this is... I want to know, mine is, I'm going to go with 13 minutes. We're going to make it 13 minutes into listening to our own commentary. before we just mute that commentary and just have a conversation that has nothing to do with anything.
Wait, is this collective? Like we all have to mute it, or is it just the first person to mute? Because I feel like you can game the system pretty easy.
It has to be.
I want to say.
Across the board.
I want to say it runs by Seinfeld the contest rules. The first one who is out is technically that's technically the marker.
But
no, someone could just stop the commentary after 2 seconds.
That's true. Plus, doesn't that person win technically?
Yeah, I think it's whoever can listen the longest. I want that to be challenged. Who can make it through the commentary the longest?
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody's going to turn it off.
Now we're all just going to listen to the full thing out of spite.
Good.
I promise you, there's no fucking way I am.
You've got 13 minutes. I'm going to pull for a solid...
Oh, hey, my mom's calling. Hello? Hey, Mom. Yeah.
Keep this in.
It is.
Seems like the most convenient option. So the money kind of bums me out, and I guess it's going to be expensive no matter what. It's hard.
But he's discussing his big move to Minneapolis.
He's moving to the big city, folks.
Mrs. Flexo doesn't want him to endure this any more than we want to endure this. That is how desperate we are all trying to escape this commentary.
Just trying to think of ways out of it. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
What a stupid fucking movie podcast this is. Is this even a movie podcast anymore? Is this just...
I'm amused that you went with any more like it was in the first place.
It was for like the Prometheus episodes, and just immediately fucking went off the rails.
Well, how do they never returned. Am I just paying them when they get there, or do I have to...
Pretty much the minute Triton Man was invented.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's when this took a turn. That and when we got to the Thanksgiving episode, that was definitely when things got weird.
Oh god.
The first big ass pumpkin day, it's fine, but then
Perfect sandwich.
It's like I just had a truck just with like 10 trips. You know.
Yeah, it just sounds like out of context. Cody's like planning some kind of drug move.
Yeah, who's to say he's not? Honestly.
We don't know like what's in his DVD cases. That could be Molly's.
Yeah, Cody has to move like 10 full crates of DVDs across the country.
I feel like I should be able to fully control and not spend that much money.
I can't believe this is happening.
Isn't it so perfect, too?
It is, because this has to be broken immediately.
We haven't even pressed play on the thing.
We haven't even finished taking our bets. I got 13 minutes. I'm going to go with 13.
I'm putting down a solid hour and a half. I'm going to be generous. Yep.
You know what? I'm not as confident as James, but I feel like I could do better than Mike, so I'm going to go 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes. Okay, so we have 13, 30, and an hour and a half.
Yep.
We're all going to fail somehow, and like shortchange it. Even you. Like.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably get like 5 minutes in. Also, I hope Cody just says a random number during this conversation, and then we just use that.
You gave me... And those are all going to be full at the time I finish packing. And that should about cover the movies and TV shows, but then I've still got a bookcase full of books.
You thought we were joking, audience. We weren't.
What I love is what if we listen back to this part next year?
We have to.
And what if we never tell Cody that we could hear him?
And then it turns out on Cody's move, all this shit was stolen during the move. So this is like the moment where everything went wrong for him.
This is evidence.
No, this like triggers like an insane rage. He just goes off on us, quits the podcast, and just we hear about him like a week later. He's been arrested.
They didn't give me back the Jews. They must have to, after the person moves out, probably take the time to paint it and all that afterwards. So. The third floor.
This everyday conversation is getting really intense.
I like how... I mean, I'm glad he didn't, but I like how he could have muted his mic.
I don't really mind living on the third floor. That's not a problem.
And that doesn't count as a number, unfortunately.
Yep.
Hey, Cody, say for the audience what your new address is going to be.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, I don't think it happens too often.
I'm slowly becoming confident that we can pull this off because we're commentating Cody on the phone with his mother. Why were we ever worried about this?
Can I just say, we've been on the front page of the Inquisitor.
Well, we're about to lose those privileges.
I'm not going to cancel anything until we get the go-ahead on the other end.
This all sounds like swing code.
We're literally riffing reality right now.
I picked a more expensive apartment than what I planned for.
Brag about it.
$500, it's just a lot to bite off at one time. So, it's like all sorts of different fees, and I know I gotta spend all sorts of money to pick up, like, kitchen stuff and all that.
Also, I sold all my possessions yesterday, so that's going to be a bit of a problem.
No, I don't even want to think about it.
Also, I like his comment. I mean, now I guess I have to buy food or something instead of movies.
Hey, Cody is very, very into cooking. That is his second passion. It's like Legos, cooking, movies, podcasting, a distant eighth.
Well, I was cleaning my room. I got a whole another big pile of stuff to give back for the rummage sale.
I feel like that was a comment on what we were saying.
Backseat or something. I'll throw it all in a big garbage bag.
Well, Cody did manage to spend Lego Day, and this isn't a joke, disassembling Legos, and didn't realize it was Lego Day until that night.
Is this really going to be the preamble before we start the commentary?
Yes! This is the best. This is the best thing that has ever happened to us.
It said June 3rd online, so I don't know which one's accurate. Mid-June or June 3rd.
He's saying
and once that's done, I just
a lot, right?
Stuff and just walk it up to the other room. Oh, and the rent went up, of course.
How much did the rent go up, Cody?
It was like just over 1,100.
So, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Write that down.
Okay, I'm doing it.
No.
I'm changing my answer. I'm changing my answer to 5. Not 30. 5.
Are you sure? I can change it.
Yep, go ahead and pull the trigger.
What's the answering for you?
Yes.
Thanks, Cody. Thanks for giving us this consent.
5%. MBs is now changed to 5.
Oh, it should be more convenient than having to do like the 3-car swap-a-roo thing.
Was that a comment to what we're talking?
Just ignore the other $400 with it. It was, yeah, I know. It was just a joke, Mom.
Don't land yourself into hot water, Cody.
It's definitely not like next door or anything, but it's not a super horrible long distance cross-country drive either.
I'm just jealous because Cody's moving next door to a movie theater. His dream.
No, I mean, it's just frustrating because of the fees. I just want it to be done.
Hey, don't talk shit, Cody. I was complimenting you.
That's even worse. Oh, here's your money. It's a truck.
How is this happening?
No, just stick with it. Yep. I'm on a phone call with a couple of other friends. Bye. Are we up to the train scene yet?
Okay, Cody, so my time was an hour 30. We put you down for an hour and 10 minutes because you said 1,100, and when we asked if that was okay, you said yes, so that's your time.
Oh, man, I was going to go for 2:30.
You gave us your consent.
I was an unwitting accomplice to this.
How about this? I just to add more interest to this fucking commentary, I'll also drop you down to what, 2:30 you said?
I'm gonna listen the whole time. I'm not quitting.
Okay, we'll see. Wait, I think you'll only make it to 1 hour and 10, but we'll also count that as official.
2 for yes.
2 for just because you gave us possibly the longest preamble any of our commentaries.
Are we keeping all of that?
Yes.
God damn it. Oh, that's going to be horrible for next year on the commentary.
That was comedy gold.
How is that gold? It's a boring conversation about U-Hauls.
No, we did a pulp commentary for your conversation with your mom.
Oh, wonderful.
We riffed you.
So the best part about this, if we keep even a fraction of this preamble in, our next year's commentary is going to be like 3 hours long, unless Mike cuts all of this, which would be weird.
No, I won't.
You're not going to cut any of this? For once, Mike, I implore you, you should probably slim it down.
Okay, I'll slim it down, but I'm...
Oh, definitely slim down the phone call to just the parts where we're actually saying things.
Oh, of course. I'm just going to keep the meat, but the sinew doesn't need to stay. Okay, just right before we start. I have 13 minutes. James has an hour and a half. Cody has been forced upon 1 hour and 10 minutes.
/ the entire damn thing.
NMB has 5 minutes.
Okay. So, everyone, on the count of 3, we're going to turn on the commentary, and I'm also going to turn on the movie, and you're welcome to turn on both, or neither, or one, or the other.
I don't
Or
know
turn
how
yourself on.
Exactly. Jerk off, or rub one out. Either one, while listening
As
to us.
long as you don't turn Flexo on.
Hey, baby.
If you're a couple, maybe mutual masturbation while we play lightly in the background would be.
Ah, the Dutch rudder.
Yeah.
Right, what were we doing?
So who wants to do the countdown?
MB, I nominate you this year.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yes, after he says 3, press play.
1, 2, 3.
Ah.
I thought that was me at first.
I thought I was talking.
It turns out that actually was me making the blah noise.
Yes.
And the first time I listened to that commentary, I heard the frogs on the commentary, and I swear to God they're right next to me, and I did a little bit of a jump. Those frogs just come in so clear, it's amazing. It's like they're on the mic.
The frogs are calling from inside the house!
So, I'm looking forward to being in a new place without frogs.
That is going to be nice.
My editing is going to look forward to you being in a place without fucking frogs.
It'll be nice. It'll probably be something different. It'll be like highway noise or something.
Oh, please live next to a train.
I've only been to this place once, so I don't know. There could be trains all over. It could be Thomas the Tank Engine Island.
What?
What?
Is that where they all live?
Oh,
In
yeah,
an
that
island?
was
Yeah.
just an island.
Has that always confused you that they live on a tiny, tiny island that has like 80 trains?
It's very unnecessary. Their infrastructure is all kinds of fucked up. I'm pretty sure Sir Topham Hatt, but I mean, besides the fact that it's clearly some form of communism.
Well, not only that, but
No,
like
it's like a public works thing.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
Well, public works, and also demonology is clearly present because something got those trains to come alive.
That's true. That's
They're human
horrifying.
faces.
Also, it's canon that when they get too old, they're killed.
Yeah. I was reading an Imgur post about that the other day. Like, one train misbehaved, so they just bricked him up behind a building as a permanent generator. Things are horrifying. To back up to the actual commentary we're commenting on...
Can I just say that less than 2 minutes in, we made our first Ken Watanabe joke.
That's not surprising. There's Ken Watanabe now.
Let them fight.
Let them spin.
Also, how horrifying is us laughing with our voices pitched down like this?
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like we're about to reveal the truth about aliens.
Which we
This is very,
I do expect like all 4 of our heads to be in shadow and like our names are blurred out.
Yeah, this is very Alien Autopsy Files primetime on Fox.
So I wanted to back up and mention a joke I mentioned earlier. Past Cody, not current Cody. But like past commentary Cody, not past now Cody. That made perfect sense in my head, and I'm just going to stand by it.
All right.
I mentioned the fact that if one word described Box Office Pulp, it would be integrity. Nothing describes Box Office Pulp better than integrity. Meanwhile, 1 year later, we kept true to our word to do a really shitty commentary. So that is integrity, but also it's the most masturbatory thing ever. Like, guys, let's have a podcast of us talking about our podcast.
Well, I will argue that we're not enjoying it, so that is at least points in our favor.
As I said earlier today, this podcast has just become forced enjoyment.
The mandatory fun campaign. I feel bad because we started so well in the original commentary.
The original commentary, I'm very proud of it. Like, I think we talked about a lot of interesting things.
We're having a deep conversation like 3 minutes into this commentary. Like, we hit the ground running.
And this is what we're doing on top of it.
Yeah, and we started this commentary off with a Thomas the Tank Engine discussion.
Like, the fucked up thing is, if people search for our Inception commentary, this is going to come up first. So I put, like, disclaimers in the description. For the love of God, don't listen to this at all.
Well, not only that, but think of the future years where if you search for Inception, you're going to get 5,000 results.
Jesus. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4.
It just goes deeper and deeper.
I love how we can't tell who's talking at any given time because we all sound the same now. I like that makes it look like it's just one monster man describing Inception.
With many opinions.
As I was describing actually before we started the commentary, I can tell who is who based off of who enunciates a specific way because we all have very different ways of speaking.
I can tell by cadence.
I can tell that I'm talking whenever there's lots of unnecessary pauses.
Well timed, James.
Wow.
One of those. I keep forgetting that people at home cannot hear the chatter underneath our chatter. So this commentary is probably 80% just empty space.
They
Unless
can pitch it down
you are
themselves.
listening to this, in which I'm really fucking sorry. Please turn off what's underneath this and just listen to us, or just listen to the original commentary. I'm so fucking sorry.
I'm not. I feel like we made a promise. We had to deliver. We set this up for ourselves. It is no one's fault but us.
The worst thing is, I hate listening to myself whenever I'm trying to sound smart.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Like, if it was just a fucking Big-Ass Pumpkin Day episode or something we were listening to, that would be fine. The fact we were listening to a serious commentary really makes this unnerving.
If you hadn't pitched it down, this would be unbearable. So I really appreciate that I don't sound like me.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, it does help.
What were you Jesus Christing, James?
Oh, you couldn't hear that? I think my washing machine just fell over.
Oh.
Hold on.
That's what that was.
It's trying to eat you. It's the mangler.
I'm glad everyone's dying in this commentary. This is good.
Okay. Does that technically count as James forfeiting his time?
No, because it's still playing.
Yeah, you can probably hear it. Yeah.
It's not muted. That would be different. If it was muted before he left, that would count.
Because it would be amazing if fate stepped in and decided that James was going to be the first to fail.
You know, I was thinking this earlier. It's really fucked up that technically this would be an interesting idea if we were going to listen to our commentary to try and then go back over our thoughts and try to expand on them and literally go deeper into Inception. But no, we were just talking over this.
No, perfect timing because I literally just wanted to do that. Right now in the commentary,
thank God.
we're talking about Inception as a vehicle to talk about filmmaking itself. And if you've spent more than 10 minutes talking to me about movies, you know how much I love movies that are meta. And I spent some time thinking about it today. And when Inception came out, people gave it a lot of shit for being needlessly complicated because it's layer on top of layer and different timelines. But really, considering what the movie actually is, it's incredibly simple. I mean, it's a meta-commentary, so it's not just the movie of Cobb implanting ideas into criminals' heads so he can change their mind. It's Christopher Nolan making that movie so he can talk to the audience about movie making. But what's his larger point? Why is he doing this? A meta-commentary is useless unless there's a larger goal that you're trying to get at. And I think most filmmakers, when they're doing meta-commentaries, are really trying to get to the bottom of why they bother telling stories in the first place. Why do they bother resorting to fiction, in this case specifically movies, to express themselves? What are they getting out of it, and what are they hoping that we get out of it? Because to do a meta-commentary, you have to have full awareness of your subject. Otherwise, it's useless and it doesn't get anything across. So, with this subject, Nolan is talking about inceptions. He's planting ideas in people's heads that they then think are their own ideas, which is a great way to look at movies. Every time you watch a movie, you never think, oh yeah, that movie definitely shaped me. You kind of watch the movie and think, oh yeah, that inspired me to have some of my own thoughts. Which is the point that he's trying to prove here. You're being actively shaped and molded by this movie, but you want to think that the movie is just kind of giving you a sounding board to bounce ideas off of, even though it's the originator for the ideas that you think you're just sounding off on. So to go full circle on this, Christopher Nolan made a commentary about how commentaries change our perception of the world he made that the theme for his movie, while also commenting on it. And the whole thing is just one giant Mobius strip that goes and folds in on itself 1,000 times. So when people complain that Inception's complicated, I look at it and go, God, no, people could actually understand what he's trying to say. There's like a clear message there that people picked up on pretty fast. It's amazing he managed to make it as simple as he did, but still complex.
What I love about the meta, like the idea of Inception being a meta commentary on filmmaking, is the idea that it keeps the rewatchability of the movie very strong into years, maybe even decades after its original release. Like, those same people who do feel that it's needlessly complicated could easily come back to it, you know, a few years from now and look at it in a completely new way, because there are those layers there. It's not a movie that just is the sum of its parts, because its parts can be interpreted in a variety of ways. And if you look at it, really, it could be easily seen as just an action-adventure, like, heist movie. It could be seen as a psychological thriller on just the basic level of what film genre it fits into. Never mind the idea of what Nolan's actually trying to say with the actual movie. So, there are, like, I hate to, like, go into the whole, like, oh, it's a movie that you literally have to go deeper with it, or, like, I hate to invoke the mantras of the movie itself, but it really kind of is one of the only movies where I'm like, yeah, it actually does work on that level, where the movie itself is operating on a level where it's like you can experience it in a way where the story itself is the way that you're actually supposed to watch it, where it's like you have to go another level whenever you watch it. You have to, like, even if you don't get it the first time, you can go back and watch it again and potentially go to that other level with it. Or you can miss the point entirely, in which case that's a shame, honestly, but, like, it's a movie where, like, this is why I consider it Nolan's absolute masterpiece, just beyond the fact that it's his most well-made movie, it's his most well-scripted movie, it's just all of the things that he's come to do very well, just pushed together. This is also just a movie where it's like, you look at it and how it presents itself is just kind of, it's very up to interpretation. It is very up to interpretation, but at the same time, it's very concise in the way that it is up to interpretation, because the interpretations are very uniform. They're very, like, there are a lot of people who come up to the same conclusions, so that had to be intentional.
Guys?
Yes?
My washing machine is okay.
Oh, thank God.
Please tell me that you literally just got back a second ago.
I mean,
He cannot tell a
my
lie.
washing machine. Though, it sounded like you were making a good point whenever I came back, MB.
Oh, that was amazing timing on James's part, huh?
Not too bad. So, on the commentary, I'm going to keep bringing this up, just to prove I'm still listening. We were talking about Nolan's style of depicting dreams, which is one I still go back and forth on. It's frustrating me because dreams give you the possibility to do literally anything you want, so you can do some crazy stuff, which you get in a hallway fight. But a lot of the stuff before that is very grounded, like you get a train going through a city not on rails, so that's supposed to be kind of like, whoa, crazy. Parts of me want to say, like, he was too subdued. On the other hand, though, it has to kind of play that way. Like, you don't want it totally to be surreal. You don't want a David Lynch film to be made out of the dream starting and stopping. You do want there to be kind of an action film that has slightly dreamlike elements to it that if you pay close attention to, don't necessarily add up.
Well,
Plus, I think that's just how Nolan is, too. I don't think he dreams, like, in crazy Technicolor.
that was actually...
Crazy Technicolor.
Why is he dreams of Mads?
Yes.
No, all filmmakers are just German.
But there's the thing with that. It's like, most people's dreams aren't really that surreal.
I told you about my dream last night.
Oh yeah, Mike dreamt of the Twin Peaks season premiere last night that became a Stranger Things crossover.
Huh?
Yeah, it turns out 11's just in the Black Lodge at the end of the season.
It makes a lot of
man.
sense.
Spoilers.
And Bob had some kick-ass Witch King armor, and Cooper was old and like this ethereal tree fort in a field.
Yeah, all that sounds way more extreme than a train not on tracks.
But it still sounds like that could actually happen this season, which I like.
It's entirely possible. I think I watched Twin Peaks in the way you're supposed to watch Twin Peaks, actually.
You just dreamed it?
That's entirely possible that that episode won't actually air on Showtime. Everyone will just dream it that night.
David Lynch beams it directly to your head if you're a fan.
God, how terrifying would that be?
I
would
used my
totally
connection to
subscribe
the
that
moon
system.
to beam it into your membranes.
But going back
Okay.
to what Cody was saying, what I like about the way dreams are very real world portrayed in this movie is it plays into what you're talking about, Cody, the whole movie meta idea. This is essentially what stories can do for you. So of course the dreams are more a made reality that only if you pay very close attention seems off, because that's how stories and movies work.
I do always get a kick of movie logic. Like, people are always up in arms about certain things in movies, like...
Movie logic's the best.
Let's talk about clip size on guns, and how no one in Hollywood appreciates the fact that a clip can only hold a limited amount of ammo.
How boring would a
Exactly.
gun-centric movie be if everyone had to reload every 2 seconds? And the gunshots were just...
That's the thing that really gets me. People demand realistic movies, but if they got a realistic movie, they'd be pissed about how boring it was. People want a movie with a realistic shimmer to it, which is what Nolan excels at delivering. He doesn't deliver realistic movies.
Yeah.
He delivers grounded movies that pose as realistic. Which I'm not saying is a slight. It's actually a very clever way to do things. I just wish everyone else had not tried to copy.
Well, it's something that's always fascinated me with certain audiences. They want to be told a story, but they also feel like being told a story is insulting in some way, so it needs to be as close to reality as possible.
Plus, it's that very adult thing of, no, this is slightly off from reality, in which case this is not adult anymore, and that's for children.
I do like how in class one time, the idea came up that children need to be protected when they're watching things because they have a harder time differentiating reality from fantasy. They just blur together. And I thought about that for a while, and I thought, no, I'm still terrible at that. I think most adults are terrible at that.
Yes.
I was reading a story today about Star Wars, and someone started talking about the EU, and I'm like, that doesn't count, that's not real. And then I caught myself because I was referring to the movies where they go to hyperspace and jump between galaxies in a matter of seconds and fight with laser swords and have a mystical force that can cause you to read minds or pick up rocks with your thoughts as real. That was the real world. That's canon. But those books some other guys wrote, that's just bullshit.
Well, what's funny, like, that applies to the very famous Grant Morrison quote of, a kid will accept that Superman just fires heat vision out of his eyes and it's or part of his superpower set. That's all they need to be told because he comes from the planet Krypton. An adult will go, well, how can he do this because of Earth's molecular structure, and how can he also emit heat in an environment that doesn't permit that, and how does the heat of that affect everyone else? It's like, eventually you have to throw up your hands. It's just, because it's a comic book.
It's not real. It's a fake thing that you're being told.
But going to a slightly different point, that's still speaking on the same point that you were making, like, I feel like while it does work on the meta level, the realistic portrayal of Inception itself, I feel like if it worked, like, let's say Terry Gilliam was directing Inception, I feel like that would
Oh
have
god,
been
now that would be complicated. People would never
And
understand
horrifying.
complicated and horrifying. But that's my point. Is that it would be complicated and horrifying. It would be surreal as hell, and that's because that's personal to him. That's personal to Gilliam. That's how he approaches a story. This movie is especially personal to Nolan because he spent 10 years writing it. It deals with someone who's a father like he is. It deals with very like similar themes to things that he's dealt with within his career. Like you could easily kind of take him as writing Cobb almost as an avatar for himself in a bit, especially in the whole role that he plays. And not only that, but Nolan kind of, I'm not going to get into it, but it's like, yeah, Nolan's kind of pretentious, so I could kind of see that.
I thought you were going to say, Nolan totally killed his wife.
Yes, that's what I thought he was
We've
going to say.
discussed this. He
Yes.
totally did.
He did.
I'm pretty sure it's in this commentary.
Yeah. Well, we've discussed it many times, and it's true.
In every level. He's always killed his wife.
It's always an admittance. It is always in there.
Nolan and DiCaprio.
Together, they tag teamed it. They did Strangers on a Train thing with their wives. I've always had a fascination with trying to think of a movie director if he were a movie, and vice versa. Like, if a movie were to be transformed into a person, what that person would be. And discussing Terry Gilliam, like a Terry Gilliam aesthetic, if you were to transform him into a movie, what kind of movie that would be. And for Christopher Nolan, he would transform to Inception, and Inception, if it were made human, would just be Christopher Nolan. If you look at the recurring themes in his films, like criminals running away from their guilt, high-class professionals in suits, like everything's got a nice sheen to it, kind of, but I wouldn't say it's glossy or oversaturated, grounded, but there's still fantastic elements to it. Like, Inception really covers the basis for all of his stuff. Although it actually is a high mark for me for him trying to hit emotional high notes. It seems like Nolan kind of struggles with that in his other films, which I don't want to pass judgment on his actual life. I don't know if he's stone cold in regular life. But in his films, it often seems like he's fighting really hard to be like, how do I make human emotions happen?
Yeah, I think we discussed this in the commentary and various other places. Nolan doesn't seem to really understand how people work, but just enough to have really interesting stories about people.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really get the subtlety of it, so people make these really big, broad moves.
Everything is opera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out, while you were saying all that, Cody, in the commentary, you were saying, let them fight over and over and over again.
I'm glad I got that in now. Thank you for reminding me. I want to think of Terry Gilliam if he directed a remake of Inception, though.
Sato's head would be huge.
Imagine the cast. Like, Eric Idle is old Sato.
I feel like it would just be the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. I think we already have that movie.
That actually is literally the same thing, yeah.
Tom Waits is someone in this movie.
Tom Waits is Sato.
Yeah.
Let them fight.
I like how Tom Waits is Sato, but he's still saying other Ken Watanabe lines. And that makes me happy. Can Tom Waits be every Ken Watanabe character?
Oh god, Bruce journeys up the mountain. Like he opens the temple. Tom Cruise has to be trained by Tom Waits.
God, Tom Waits is the last samurai.
Tom Cruise has to help Tom Waits commit seppuku on the battlefield so he can die an honorable death.
The last Tom.
But it's not a sword even, it's just like a rusty ukulele or some weird shit. That was a wonderful time to pause. For everyone at home, they're in a deep, gravelly voice. So this is where Michael Caine hangs out.
Also,
as Michael Caine goes into his office.
I made the same fucking joke in the other commentary. There's no gifts in that bag. That bag is completely fucking empty. You didn't get them anything. They're dreams. Nothing of this is real. Anyway, continue.
That or he just has Alzheimer's.
What would Cobb get as a
gift? Bags and bags.
Cobb hands him like some sort of like really fancy brick. It's just like a brass square. There you go, children. Play.
That's the most decadent fucking gift to give somebody. Just like a gold-plated brick. A featureless brick. That cost $1 million.
Here's your obelisk.
Is he designing the Stargate in the background? What is that?
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? See? Oh, this is the curved bridge. It is a dream. He's looking at clues from life. Actually, if you squint closely, it says, you forgot your Pepto-Bismol, and he's trying to warn him through his subconscious that he's going to have a real upset tummy later.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my theory now about Inception, 1 year later. It is all a dream Cobb is having, but it's a perfectly normal dream, and Cobb is, just ate some bad Chinese food that night. Cobb is just a regular dude. He works at an insurance firm. He went to bed, and he dreamt the movie Inception.
I dreamed a dream.
Wait. Would that mean that he dreamt being Christopher Nolan watching the movie that he made? Because could you imagine dreaming that you're Christopher Nolan making a movie that you already know exists?
Ah, the meta.
Oh, God. I don't want to... how about this? You dream you're yourself, but you wake up and you're Christopher Nolan. How fucking terrifying would that be?
It's even worse because you're on the set of Dunkirk, so they're dropping bombs in you at the time. Like, where's my wife? And why is everything exploding?
No, you wake up as you're jogging across a beach. Ah! It's like being John Malkovich.
I keep removing these vests, but more just appear.
Wake up while you're designing Bane's mask.
A few minutes ago in the commentary, we were talking about the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind and how it could play into this movie, like if they used the technology in a different way. And this is my new obsession, just trying to find thematic double headers. That'd be a lot of fun. But now that we mentioned being John Malkovich, you've got a triple header of Inception, being John Malkovich, and Eternal Sunshine. So John Malkovich is in the middle. I think you start with this movie, and then you end with Eternal Sunshine. And just imagine the weird journey you go through watching all of those movies back to back to back.
Like, we treat it like it's the Cloverfield universe. Just, these movies have a through line, but just thematically.
Like, you'd have to retcon part of John Malkovich, so it's just like a magic device. Not magic, an actual scientific device instead of a magic device.
Well, that's actually... Well, they never explain it in the finished movie, so you could just say it's like a dream device that fell into a closet and just transformed the room.
What a fascinating movieverse that would be if there was like a Cloverfield spin-off universe where the whole concept of the universe is there is amazing technology that's just being used for weird, shady shit.
So like, it's the Venture Brothers?
Yeah, so it's like, well, we can steal John Malkovich's soul. Okay, that's one technology we have. We can make dreams and put people in them. Great, that's another one. And we can steal your thoughts and rearrange and delete them so you forget bad relationships. Perfect, that seems like a legit use for that.
You are pretty much just describing Black Mirror.
I guess so, yeah.
Just douchebag science, the series.
Wouldn't that be a fun movie series? Like, they don't even have to be connected. Every once in a while, maybe you hear of one of the other technologies in the background or something, but they're never direct sequels.
So it's just Dick Technology, the film series?
Yeah, I would totally be down for that. Like, high-concept, kind of gimmicky movies that allow you to go to weird places about things you can do with the human mind with technology. Like, I'm not interested in a direct fable about smartphones, but the idea of how technology can be misused is interesting.
I like that. I like the pause there.
Theseus is cruel.
Cruel,
The best part is, I was watching the show, so Leonardo DiCaprio leans in to say that. That was the only thing I caught him saying while he's on this French, street talking to other people. He is cruel.
Okay, also, this has nothing to do with anything, really, but close to Cody's idea. So, I made this joke to somebody the other day, but they didn't appreciate it, because I guess they're just, I don't know. So I was making jokes about having a bionic dick, but it could do other things. It could do other things, and my thing was, you know those alarm clocks that are like a helicopter and they fly off and you have to chase it around the room and turn it off? Imagine your dick was an alarm clock. But it could also do that as an alarm clock. So you're laying in bed, it suddenly starts vibrating and then dinging and then just flies off of you It
No.
goes around the house. You have to chase your own dick to turn the blaring sounds off.
That's
And
all
that was
good and
the
fun
best
unless you have
alarm
like
ever.
relatives over, and then it gets real awkward.
Here's the thing though. You always have to sleep without pants then?
No, it finds its way out.
Here's my thing.
Robo-dick finds a way.
Here's my thing. What happens if you're being intimate with somebody and it goes off and they just rock it up to the ceiling?
Well, you just make sure you don't have your alarm set. You have to check it first.
I'm very forgetful. I can't trust my own.
Well, if it goes to fly off, it's just gonna go right there, so it can't go anywhere.
Hopefully not.
And your balls are also bionic, so it's not like it's gonna go in more because your balls will block it. Because everything will be replaced. You're gonna lose the whole dick.
Right, it wouldn't make sense to keep only parts of it.
It's just like RoboCop.
Here's my suggestion. I'm gonna pitch you on something. Instead of one of those like crazy wild ferret ball dicks that just kind of rolls around the room and you have to catch, what if instead it was like a cuckoo's clock? And when like the clock hits 12, just out in, but real far. Like the cuckoo pops out, goes back in, and it does all the work for you.
Xenomorph?
Yeah, like a xenomorph mouth. But it just still makes the cuckoo noise.
Okay, that would actually feel pretty good inside of you.
Can I just say that?
It depends if you're into stuff entering your urethra.
Also, I'm really glad the commentary hey-o'd my joke there.
To put a pin in this for a second, I just want to point out that commentary Mike said Marion Cotillard is the Minotaur.
We're still on that whole Greek kick, aren't we?
It's me. I'm always on a Greek kick.
Here's a question, Mike. Does this Tomorrow cock have any defensive capabilities?
Yes. I brought this up specifically. It could be a taser. You can use it as a taser. So you just and just shoot, and just shoots taser and electrocutes people. Plus, if you have a chick who's into that, boom, ready made. You just turn down the voltage to what's necessary, and then boom, you have a little electricity thingy.
Mike.
Or if you turn it up, then you can stop a bank robbery with your dick, and that's amazing.
Mike, in your experience, besides being the shocker that stops crimes with his electro dick, how often are girls actually into that? Tomorrow dick, yeah.
How much they're into that?
Exactly. You mentioned and if the girl's into it, which makes it seem like it's common. I feel like this is drawing a foil Charizard.
There's a whole electro fetish thing, or it's like.
Wait,
you use
Jamie Lee Fox? They're just into Jamie Lee Fox doing it's a spider as bubble ubs.
Yes, I mean who doesn't? But yeah, there's a whole thing there's electrodes.
Jamie Lee Fox.
There's electrodes you can buy specifically for lovemaking.
I just want to say, I loved Jamie Lee Fox's topless scene in Trading Places. That was very formative to me as a young boy.
Where he was playing Ray.
What happened to Jamie Foxx, by the way?
Electro. Jamie Lee Fox.
I think a combination of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Activia.
Oh, God.
He flies planes up there, though.
I don't think I could do better than that on purpose. That was just a wonderful accident.
Since you mentioned it, I have to bring this up because it kind of plays into something that happened earlier in the commentary. Which is, okay, a couple of weeks ago, Mike and I made the worst decision of our lives, which was, we were hanging out on Skype and trying to think of something to do. And out of nowhere, we were just like, hey, you know what would be funny? Watch an Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because we had both never seen it.
I am so angry with both of you still. I sometimes think about that and just slap myself. It's like, no, I don't know those two.
At least we didn't see it in theaters.
Right, we could have gone to sleep instead of watching that movie. But we built it up like, oh no, it'll be so funny because there's a new Spider-Man coming out, so it doesn't matter that this movie's terrible, and we'll riff on it. It'll be hilarious. And we watched it, and the first 15 minutes of that movie are really fun to riff on. And beyond that, it's like shoving daggers into your eyeballs. Xanadu.
Xanadu. I have
Xanadu.
taken Amazing Spider-Man 2 to be the greatest film lesson I've ever seen.
Oh, totally.
It's like that's a learning experience.
It's fascinating in its own way. More so than any. Next to The Room, it's maybe the most fascinatingly not from planet Earth movie I've ever seen. But it was so bad that about 30 minutes in, the hose to the ice maker in my refrigerator ruptured and my kitchen started violently flooding. So I had to run out and take care of that for about 30 minutes. And I was overjoyed because I didn't have to watch Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, how good for you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Mike did not pause it, thank God. And just had to watch it by himself. I come back 30 minutes later, and what I see on my computer screen is Harry Osborn having tea with Spider-Man in full costume, who's just sitting quietly in a chair.
Which is the most Spider-Man thing in the world, to be fair. But out of context, I mean, in context, it's hilarious, but out of context, it's even better.
What I love is I didn't miss any plot.
No, not at all. You missed Sally Field's terrible, terrible performance.
I feel so sorry for Sally Field, because she's flat out said, I have no idea why I was in that movie or what any of the things I was saying meant.
I would like everyone to feel bad for me because I had to watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 alone. That was
You
my
bought
own
it on
cross to
Blu-ray,
bear.
though.
I did.
You're sending that to Minneapolis.
Hey, the fact of the
I
matter
am.
is, I saw it when I didn't know what it was.
Ah, the reviews are out, my friend.
No.
Reviews are out. No, reviews are out. Your review for it is posted online and is mostly positive, by the way. I reread it 2 days ago.
I know. I was in denial. It's called denial. But yeah, look at my review for Amazing Spider-Man 2 on boxofficepulp.blogspot.com because, oh boy, can you see my sanity starting to crack in between the sentences.
That is a fractured brain trying to scab over itself.
Back to wonderful thematic combos. Fantastic Four is now, the new one, is now at the Walmart bargain bin. You can get that for $7 on Blu-ray and then watch it with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and then jump off a building.
I've never seen a movie. Okay, the only movie I've seen go to bargain bin that fast is fucking Lost River. Look at my muscles, look at my muscles, look
Lost
at
River
my muscles.
started in the bargain bin.
I'm surprised. I was never able to find a copy of it. I'm lucky I saw it on HBO Go because I was real tempted to buy a copy, but it's always like $20 on Amazon.
Oh my god, you've seen Lost River? Describe it to us.
It's
Muscles?
that's a very small part of the movie. Matt Smith just kind of shows up a couple of times. It's in no way is it a good movie. People give it a lot of credit because they're like, oh man, it's like David Lynch. And no, it's not like David Lynch. It feels very much like Only God Forgives, if only it didn't quite have the same thematic intelligence and drive and aesthetic.
If it was written and directed by a stupid beefhead, you can say it.
Kinda, yeah, which is mean because Ryan Gosling has a lot of talent. I don't want to describe him as a stupid beefhead, but it feels that way. It really is just kind of like, it's got a grungy aesthetic, kind of a handheld 16mm kind of look to it. Most of the actors aren't utilized as well as it could be. Like, there's Ben Mendelsohn, he's in there, but he just basically plays like a really obnoxious, evil, bad guy, strip club owner kind of guy. Just scummy. Like, there's nothing more to him than just being scummy. Christina Hendricks is in there, but I don't think she does anything. I can barely remember anything about her character.
All that movie sounded like to me was just Gosling trying to be the directors he's worked with and likes.
It's basically like, you can tell it was inspired by them, but just not done on the same level in any way.
Question. Is there a fantasy element to that movie?
Not really.
Then why did he describe it as an epic fantasy movie that was originally titled How to Kill a Monster?
So if you want spoilers, and I'm just gonna give spoilers, there was like an abandoned park with a dinosaur in it, like a dinosaur statue that was flooded. because the river is just kind of taking over parts of the town. And during the end, Matt Smith is chasing after the main character, and his car goes into the river, and it gets pinned underneath this dinosaur. So essentially, Matt Smith drowns because he can't get away from this monster in the river.
Okay.
And I have a really hazy memory of what happens, but I think the main hero escapes because he's able to, like, saw off the monster's head that's pinning him also underwater. But I could be wrong on that. It's kind of a blur.
Wasn't the original description for this movie was you went into the water and the river led to a magical world, and it was a fantasy movie? What happened?
No, I'm assuming budget happened to that. Like, I can't remember any real...
No, fuck that. How do you go from that to that? That doesn't make any sense.
How do you go from how to kill a monster to look at my muscles, look at my muscles, look at my muscles, look at my muscles?
Exactly, asked Mike. Be mesmerized by Tom Hardy.
Man is the monster, I think is what we're trying to get at.
And the deadliest game.
Yeah, I'm honestly having, like, trouble remembering any fantasy elements to the movie at all. There's some weird stuff, like, I think Ben Mendelsohn pays women to stand in, like, a clear plastic box. Like a clear...
Oh, that sounds arch as shit, though.
Yeah, like, I think he has women stand in, like, a form-fitting plastic coffin, essentially, so he can go in and, like, ogle them.
Can you imagine him do it like that being a deleted scene in Rogue One?
Oh, the power would be immeasurable.
Something would be immeasurable.
His dick is pure evil.
Evil.
It's necessary evil.
To bring it back to Tom Hardy, how beautiful he is.
So, yeah, honestly, I've forgotten most of Lost River. And I was very excited for it, but I really don't remember any fantasy elements or anything. It's kind of like a stylized take on Detroit. Like, just imagine it got even worse than what it really was. And there you go. Also, like, no black people.
I was about to ask, like, okay, is there black people?
I don't think there are any.
Yeah, that's Gosling. Not to say Gosling's a Nazi.
It's a mercy that he didn't include anyone other than white people, because white people deserve that movie.
That is true. That's
not
true.
Matt Smith.
Not Christina Hendricks.
I feel very bad for Matt Smith. He kind of got hit with that Doctor Who curse, and he was a young actor, so he didn't have time to, like, build up his laurels before that. He got stuck with Lost River, Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, not even the better Terminator sequel that wasn't well received. Like, he got the worst end of that deal.
Yeah, and I feel bad, because, like, if you want him to give a wacky, hammy performance, he'll throw it right at you.
Oh, Matt Smith is probably the best actor to ever play the Doctor.
I will stand by Eccleston, but that's just me.
Eccleston's a great actor, but I think he doesn't deserve anymore the accolades of being a great actor.
Well, he got to say on film, at long last I've joined the line of whatever it was about the McCullens while being transformed into a Silverman.
By Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Star of Inception.
It all ties in. By the way,
all comes together.
I was disturbed by the rumor, and I cannot for the life of me remember who this actor is, but somebody who's rumored to be, like, in talks to be the next Doctor, who's, like, 26. And all I can think is, no, if we've learned anything from Capaldi, please do not make young actors with their future ahead of them the Doctor. Do that to someone like Capaldi, who has had their career and can retire peacefully after being the Doctor.
Or someone like Haley Atwell, who can always go back to Agent Carter.
Exactly. It's like Superman. Like, just make old men Superman.
I feel the same way about James Bond. Like, once you do James Bond, you're done.
Seriously, John Hurt was the Doctor, and then he died. It's like, there's no more final nail in the coffin, sadly, than being the Doctor.
You know, Michael Shannon. I think we're discussing Michael Shannon. I think Michael Shannon's current career may be getting close to all of this, by the way. I'm getting a little worried for Michael Shannon. Like, I know he's still in good stuff. He's still doing good work.
I think he's just interested in doing indie movies now. Like, he does
Which
a lot
is
of
a good
stuff
term,
with, like,
but
what is it? Who is it? Mike Nichols? The guy who did Mud and, Midnight Special?
Oh,
like, he does
Jeff
those kind of movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff Nichols. Yeah, so he still gets a lot of cool stuff and some cool TV stuff. I think he just decided he didn't necessarily want to be in a shit ton of major, giant, dumb blockbusters that he didn't really care about.
He does not want to ever again have to give a line reading like, "What have you done?"
I
Or
do
Spanda.
appreciate his publicity for Dawn of Justice, where he just made up the story about having flipper hands and how everyone bought that in the media.
Michael Shannon
And
is delightful.
Not only that story, but Michael Shannon then went on record as saying that despite the fact that he's personal friends with Zack Snyder, he fell asleep like 3 minutes into Dawn of Justice on an air flight. So, like, he is brutally honest, if nothing else.
God, could you imagine having to watch the ultimate cut of Dawn of Justice in a floating tube in the sky? Nowhere to go.
And someone stands up and explodes and you die.
Their ass explodes.
God,
and
you
do
think...
nothing.
Okay. Dark joke. Do you think Dawn of Justice, the ultimate cut, was so bad that someone watching it on a plane, like it was so bad, it sent them back in time to September 11th, 2001, and they were watching it, and the last shot, just as the dirt lifted off of Superman's fucking grave, hit, and they slammed into the Twin Towers?
Wow.
No, but
it's
I
like-
think someone wished they were. I
It's
think
like the
someone
Flash
wished...
becoming his own lightning. Like, all the 9/11 hopelessness of the DC movies was created by the DC movies.
Can I say the Flash has to be the biggest dick for being his own origin?
My origin is me!
Well, you're forgetting that 50s story that DC published where Superman had to blow up Krypton himself.
Oh, then Batman killed his own parents, and Green Arrow pushed himself overboard, and just want to keep going down this route.
Green Lantern just snapped Abinsur's neck.
Whee!
Oh
missed
god,
it also
Wonder
before
Woman just
we mentioned
sculpting herself out of clay. It takes 9 hours and is really boring.
perfect for a movie. I want to bring up, a while back we mentioned Drag Me to Hell, and man, I just want everyone to think about that movie. It's a fun movie.
Yeah!
Yeah, I don't have anything more to say about Drag Me to Hell. It's just a fun movie.
I read the weirdest article today about trying to connect Drag Me to Hell to the Evil Dead universe, and the article said nothing.
I don't really know how you would connect those two so much, besides the fact that it's Sam Raimi, so it's his kind of aesthetic. But
That was pretty much it. The article just said nothing eventually. Like, I've never seen an article defeat itself with its own logic.
You do the homework.
look, we were just spending a bunch of time talking about how to pair movies together, and even I wouldn't be like, well, it's an obvious pairing. You just take Army of Darkness and Drag Me to Hell and put them together. That'd be dumb. It's too obvious. I think you have to go with something like Curse of the Demon and Drag Me to Hell, because essentially Drag Me to Hell is just a remake of that anyways.
Here's a thing that I would use to take it a step further. Like, go further in Sam Raimi's own filmography and go with The Gift and Army of Darkness.
You know, I've never actually seen The Gift.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I like all Sam Raimi's stuff. I can't think of any of his movies where I'm like, nope, that was a waste of time.
Keanu Reeves is the biggest dirtbag hick person.
Oh my god. Speaking of pairing up movies, Mike, in The Gift, Keanu Reeves leaves that small town, goes to Los Angeles, and opens up a Fleabag hotel.
Oh, good, you guys finally saw Neon Demon.
Doesn't that fit?
It does. What the fucked up thing before you said that? When MB said Keanu Reeves is a dirtbag, I was reminded of that and went, oh, they're the same character. Also,
Okay.
yeah, we saw Neon Demon a couple months ago, actually.
Nice.
Loved it.
So, they just did the totem toppling scene, and I still hate that. I know we mentioned it in the commentary before, but I still hate it. Like, what a stupid totem. Like, it tips over. Only I know how it tips over. No.
It's weighted, though. She only knows the weight of it.
Here, look, there's an easy explanation for this. Everyone in this movie is stupid.
There's that, too.
See, that's going back to just random movie logic things that drive us up the wall. I've always loved the weird, and this isn't like a really like an insult to anyone's intelligence. It's just one of those things that's kind of weird whenever you think about it. No one ever stops to consider that anyone in a movie is an idiot and doesn't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's kind of part of Inception. Like, Cobb is the one giving us all of the information, but it's made very clear he's a completely unreliable narrator. And don't believe anything he really has to say.
Don't believe his lies.
Mike, we opened the commentary last time with that. Now you're saving it for like a third of the way in.
I'm so happy we're at 49 minutes, by the way. This is really flying by, thank God. We still have 6 hours left.
Oh, God.
God, we didn't go with the idea of slowing it down.
We'd still be in the preamble.
By the way, who all beat their time so far? I think Cody is actually the only one who has yet to cross the threshold because he went all the way to the end.
We just had
I went an hour and a half.
And Cody, yes. I'm still going. I have not paused. I've ignored it, if that counts.
It's still going. That's the important thing.
To make you feel better, Mike, I agree with a point you made a year ago about Fisher being the audience.
Oh, thanks. It's a shame you didn't tell me at the time. I would have felt really good about myself.
Well, good. Now you can feel good now. I'm saving it. I'm dragging it out, man. Life's a long run. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, man. Life is a marathon. You're going to feel shitty for most of it. And probably the end, and then soar in the afterlife. I don't know what I'm getting at with here. I guess life.
Maybe somebody's waiting with Gatorade.
Maybe.
Hey, here's a question. When's the last time anybody watched The Waterboy?
It's been a couple of years, but yeah. I will stand by that The Waterboy is legitimately a really good comedy.
Waterboy is fantastic.
I think there's a line where after you cross into like Little Nicky territory, Adam Sandler starts being less funny. I don't even think it's a generational thing. I think it's like his comedies were just dumb but entertaining, whereas the other ones are dumb and kind of mean-spirited.
Very mean-spirited. Oh, no. Like Little Nicky was kind of like Little Nicky kind of exists in this between place.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm pretty much behind this mostly, but it's not that great.
Yeah, when was the last time you watched Little Nicky?
Long time ago.
Time.
Oh God, I caught that on cable. Like I watched like 15 minutes of it a couple of months back. That movie is somehow worse than people remember. And what fascinates me, and this is the reason I kind of liked this movie whenever it first came out, because I was like 12, that movie has so much mythology built in for a really stupid comedy.
Yeah, there was a lot of work put in that movie, randomly.
Like, here's how the gates of hell work. Here's how Nicky's brothers have to return to hell. But it has to be done with this and this and this and this. But this can only happen if this is going on. It's like, why is this so complicated?
Oh my God. You guys. Big Daddy was the last comedy he did where he was in the lead role before Little Nicky.
Yep, and that's why Big Daddy's the last good one.
Yep. Hey. I was kind of guessing when I said Little Nicky, but that actually was pretty spot on.
The only credit that he has between that is his role in Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
I remember that was a franchise.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, well, they made the second one like 10 years later.
And the second one was just unwatchable.
I like how that's the one I've actually seen.
It's so weird whenever they make, because we're just talking about this now. It's so weird when they make sequels to comedies, but the sequel is made in mind with the pop culture around the first movie and not actually more of what the first movie was. It's like Austin Powers and Goldmember. That wasn't an Austin Powers movie. That was about the jokes about Austin Powers outside of Austin Powers about how good Austin Powers was.
It was a very... Austin Powers and Goldmember has to be one of the most bizarre comedies
It's
I think
unwatchable.
I've ever seen.
It does not age well, which is weird because the other ones are much more 90s focused, but haven't aged particularly poorly. Goldmember just feels like a fucking MTV relic or something.
Well,
It's an
Goldfinger-
MTV Movie Award sketch that goes on for 2 hours.
Well, it was filmed like over a threshold where it's like it was filmed in I want to say like 2002, 2001, something like that.
2001, I think.
And it was made pretty like I feel like the first two Austin Power movies were made relatively close to each other. It didn't like Goldmember was made whenever Austin Powers actually became a thing. So it was that time where Mike Myers really got it in his head. It's like, okay, I've got something that caught on that isn't Wayne's World. I got something else that caught on. I can do something else. Now to make the Love Guru.
Well, Goldmember was like a tentpole movie when it came out that year. That was like comedy Avengers.
Yep.
Featuring the film debut of Beyonce.
Yeah, that was rough. Though Michael Caine, gold in that movie.
He is delightful.
Fried fucking gold.
This is kind of a weird admission to make, but that's the first movie I've ever seen Michael Caine in.
Same, actually.
I think it was an introduction for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, that's so weird because like a couple years later he would be Alfred, and he would be in like everyone would basically go back to his filmography. But Goldmember was the one where it was like, oh, who's the charming British fellow?
Also, I should say, this dates us so terribly, because we're like, yeah, remember the first time you saw Michael Caine and it was in Goldmember? Isn't that a universal experience that everyone has?
Not necessarily Goldmember. It could be Jaws: The Revenge.
But the best way to sum up Goldmember is the only reason that specific movie was made is because Goldmember was the only title they could clear with the studio. There was like 9 others they tried to go in with that were all takeoffs of James Bond titles with sex jokes in them, but they were all too dirty, and they just based the movies off of the titles. Yes, thank you, Past James. Goldmember was truly the Interstellar of Mike Myers' career.
Oh, yeah. You know what I found out? Did you see, anybody see that article about Wayne's World?
I was reading that just a few hours ago.
For everyone listening at home, an article came out recently talking about the tumultuous production of Wayne's World 2, specifically the pre-production, I should say.
Where it was revealed that Myers' original script for Wayne's World 2 was a weird remake of an old British film.
That was like a political movie.
About, like a British isle that declared itself a sovereign nation.
Yeah,
and no one knew what the hell that had to do with Wayne's World or how that would have factored into the plot at all.
I've tried to guess. But the long story short, the studio couldn't secure the rights to that original movie, and Myers had to, under duress, rewrite the script about a week before filming.
Which explains that movie.
And explains, like, the scene where they're not really in the UK, but they made a joke out of it, where they just have stand-ins. It's like, oh, all of this makes so much sense.
It's like, Wayne's World 2 isn't bad, but that is like the most slapped together comedy.
Wayne's World 2 is one of the best comedy sequels ever made.
I enjoy Wayne's World 2 quite a bit.
I don't mean that to diss it at all, but that's like a total, fuck, Wayne has to do something in this movie. This, and this.
So this is what my theory is, what the original was about. Though I did like the article's theory that it still was about the music festival, but it was about Wayne trying to to have the music festival exist outside of international law. Which would be an interesting idea.
So arch.
My theory is, an album was unearthed in a vault somewhere, and Wayne tried to get his hands on it. and it was some sort of international espionage movie about a long-lost album for a band that nobody knew existed, and it's the ultimate rock album. That's my theory.
Oh, God. Guys, in the commentary, we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
God, Cody's been so excited to reach this point.
Okay, so it's a year later, and I still have not seen any more of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the movie. But goddamn, has my appreciation for the cartoon just really ballooned over the years.
I don't know if I said this in the original commentary, but you know who introduced me to Avatar: The Last Airbender? My dad. He
Solid
fucking
choice.
loved that show.
It's
Aang
an
was his
amazing
boy.
show. Honestly, everything about that show is fantastic. I love that it's funny. It could have just been like really serious, gotta save the world kind of fare, but they made it fun too, without being stupid. I enjoy the animation style. I love the mythology and the world building that's involved in it. And it feels so unique and well thought out, and just everything about that goddamn universe is amazing. I even really love The Legend of Korra.
I just always loved that show because more than anything else, like that's the closest I've seen anything come to feeling like Final Fantasy, the series. Like especially like with the Super Nintendo games and the PlayStation Final Fantasy IX. It's like I've never seen worlds like that recreated, even in an anime, and to have that same tone. Oh, this is something I've actually wanted to bring up just in casual conversation for a couple of months. There's a podcast I listen to called Imaginary Worlds, which is very good. And they recently did an episode on Avatar: The Last Airbender, and specifically its connection to race. And a lot of the Asian American fans they interviewed had a really interesting perspective on the show because one of the things they listed as like the things that spoke to them so much about that show was the fact that the show took Asian culture but presented it to the audience through an American lens. Like, everyone is doing vaguely Asian things, but they have American accent and talk like American teenagers, which is normally kind of a funky appropriational kind of whitewashing thing. But in this specific instance, like, they felt that that was the only thing they'd ever seen that portrayed their childhood. Because as sons and daughters of immigrants, that was their life. They did Asian things, but they were Americans, and they watched MTV and listened to rap and didn't have accents. So I'd never seen that mixture of worlds presented in anything other than Avatar. It's fascinating to think how the most random of things can accidentally tap these veins for people and like mean the world to them.
Are you trying to say representation is important?
Guys,
No,
this
it isn't.
this may be a radical idea, but I think diversity might be something that makes the world a better place.
You're a madman. You're a madman.
Oh, great. Reddit's about to take us down.
Just we get an angry letter from Ryan Gosling.
Why are we landing on Ryan Gosling being...
He deserves it. I love Ryan Gosling, but he's had it too good for too.
I feel like we're like going to
be
get a
that handsome and
defamation
that
lawsuit
talented.
or something out of this. He
And
seems like the
married
kind of
to
guy who
Eva
gets very
Mendes.
sued.
Okay, hold on. To balance things out, let's all say some really nice things about Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I just saw The Nice Guys a few weeks
fucking
back.
amazing.
His best performance. I love comedy Gosling so much. I'm glad he's stepping away from the dreamy roles and going to the stuff that he can really sink his teeth in like that.
I really liked him in Goosebumps.
Oh God, have we ever talked about the time when Goosebumps first went up on Netflix? Because it's us, we were like, yeah, let's watch it tonight. And we picked Say Cheese and Die. And holy shit, that stars 12-year-old Ryan Gosling, who looks exactly like current Ryan Gosling.
It's creepy. Also, I think
Wait,
Luke
sure.
Wilson is in that.
I
Okay,
think
so better question: is Goosebumps still on Netflix?
I don't.
Because I'm gonna have to.
I wish
raise
it
my
was.
hopes and then dash them. I'm gonna have to
I mean,
watch the
it
Jack
might
Black
be.
version now.
I haven't looked in a while. If it was, why aren't we watching that instead?
That would have probably been a better use of our time, and people would probably be interested in that.
I mean,
How's
we
everyone
can
doing at
watch
home right
this.
Yeah,
now?
how are you guys doing,
commentary?
audience? Are you liking this? Please tell us at Box Office Pulp. We're sorry. We will. If you
Promotion.
disliked this, which you probably are, because I don't know what the fuck this is, tell us and we will personally apologize to you. Cody will personally send a video to you, to your home, a physical copy of a video.
On
Apologizing.
Betamax.
I know a guy with a Betamax player. He probably could get me a recorder, and he's got the tapes.
This just in, guys. Jeff Goldblum confirmed to return as Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic World sequel.
I'm going to say MB is officially conked out if he's not reading the internet.
Yeah.
No. I'm still firmly into this. It's just, I found that fascinating.
That is fascinating and wonderful news, and I'm very excited about it. However, I feel like it doesn't go with the spirit of the commentary.
We were just talking about something else.
Yeah, but it all
talked about
bridged
Little
off.
Nicky.
It all bridged off of our conversation.
Little
from
Nicky
Avatar.
is that is true. Little Nicky though is better than Jurassic World.
Oof, that's a hot take. Speaking of hot takes, and this is wrapping back into the commentary, full circle, folks. James mentioned a hot take 1 year ago that Avatar, the James Cameron version, is not a good movie.
Oh snap!
Oh, snap. I feel like a lot of people have turned towards that opinion as the years have gone by, and so I'm fascinated by the idea that we're getting now 4 confirmed sequels to Avatar, and the release plan is like one in 2019, one in 2020, or 2020, 2021, I think, and then like a 3-year gap, and then parts.
It's gonna be like
4
20
and
years
5.
between like the last one and the first one at this point.
We're getting the Marvel movies with Avatar, essentially.
What? The thing that destroys me is that the first sequel, like in 2009, when it was announced as originally going to be 2 more sequels instead of 4 more sequels. Everyone said, when everyone still liked Avatar, that the announced date of December 2014 was too far away, and that no one would care, and that's just too far, and that's a bad idea. And now 2019 or whatever, we're fucking getting Avatar 2.
At this point, it's going to be marketed as a nostalgia movie. Remember that Avatar movie you liked as a kid? It's back!
That's really going to have to be it. There's like a 10-year gap between them.
I'm honestly fascinated that because Cameron's going to make it happen. We're going to get every single one of those, no matter what happens.
Never bet against Cameron unless he's producing At the Mountains of Madness. Then bet against him.
What I love is because of Cameron, that's still going to be advertised as the motion picture event of the decade, and it's
God,
Avatar 2.
Well, the money that's going to go into that would be enough to finance like most nations for a year. But I guess looking back at his career, Terminator 1 was 84, Terminator 2 was 91. That's still a pretty big gap between movies, and those are both gigantic hits. So if anyone can do it, it's going to be Cameron. But man, he is not making life easy.
Terminator is good.
Yeah, except before Terminator 2 came out, no one was going, oh, but Terminator fucking sucked.
What were we thinking?
It just makes me sad because I would like to see James Cameron make good movies again, but he's just going to make Avatar movies until he dies.
This is his Moby Dick.
I bought the extended cut of Avatar a couple years back, and I still have not watched it. And I'm not even sour on Avatar. I remember it being a very functional, if derivative movie that was enjoyable.
It's fine. It's just
It's watchable.
the
Like, I enjoyed the
culture
world
around
building stuff.
Avatar sours it.
Yeah.
Well, then Avatar does, as a movie, legitimately think that it's fucking amazing. And you can tell. It thinks it's fucking amazing.
I think you kind of need that swagger a lot of times to present a big movie.
I think so, but you should be able to back it up.
Avatar thinks it's Star Wars.
I mean,
And
the
not
number of
even
sequels
Force
are kind of
Awakens. It thinks it's Empire Strikes Back.
The first time I saw Avatar, I walked away going, I expected to hate it, but I walked away going, all right, that was actually, no, I dug it for the most part. Watched it again without the 3D, And when you realize that the 3D kind of wows you a little bit, because when you just watch it by itself as a movie, it is, the effects aren't particularly good.
No, not really.
At all. Other movies that came out the same time as fucking, like, Tron, and Tron's effects were, like, 10 times better, while also not being that great. And it's just so, the story is boring, it's overlong, the dialogue is shitty, it has cool ideas.
Sam Worthington is such a douchebag in that movie. That's what pissed me off whenever I watched that. It's like, okay, it's, for a movie like this, you can make the protagonist kind of a blank canvas. That's acceptable, because it's not really a main character movie. Why did they make him such a alpha male, chest-beating, booyah douchebag? It's like, I would rather there be no character than that. Also, every year, can we please just drag Avatar halfway through the commentary?
Until we just do an episode on Avatar and we cry the entire time.
I mean, last year we just said, all it was is just James saying, I don't think Avatar, either version of Avatar is good. The Last Airbender, M. Night Shyamalan version, or the movie version, and that's where we left it. Now we have a proper ragging.
Fuck Avatar.
Okay, because I like talking about this. What fascinates me with Avatar is the ad campaign that began before the movie was even out, where Cameron did something brilliant. Like, this is some fucking
magician shit.
This is some Machiavellian political maneuvering. He sent copies of the movie to celebrities so that they would go on talk shows promoting other movies and just bring up the fact that James Cameron showed them Avatar and it was the best movie they'd ever seen.
He also spent a shit ton of money to sponsor a NASCAR car with an Avatar spread across it, which I'm convinced played a vital part in making sure everyone knew about that goddamn movie, even if they didn't listen to late night talk show hosts.
Nobody is better at marketing than James Cameron. The fucking Comic-Con panel from like 2 years before that movie came out, there was no footage there, yet people walked away from that panel saying Avatar looked amazing, it was going to be the greatest movie ever made. No footage was shown. There was nothing but James Cameron telling people, and then the Fox marketing department just was like, you can just do that? Like, so they just started in TV spots saying that Avatar was the greatest movie ever made and that you will love it. They just used propaganda. Like, it was just a German propaganda machine. It's my favorite part of Avatar. This is a fucking social experiment. Just about the psychology of humanity itself. Avatar is fascinating.
And it worked.
It's just such basic power of suggestion shit. You like Avatar. Yes, I do like Avatar. And it took everyone like 2 years to snap out of that.
Now we're talking about Tom Berenger in the commentary, and I feel like things have taken a turn in both commentaries.
But not to get back into Inception, because why would we want to do that?
This is commentaries fucking all over the place.
But this actually, weirdly enough, this Avatar conversation has gotten me on a whole mental kick that I've kind of been wanting to talk about on something just for the longest time, which is, screw Avatar. I want Inception to actually become a series, because I feel like that actually has potential to be a series.
You could explore the Inception series forever.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to have Nolan's involvement whatsoever. You could just have it be like a Visionette series where different directors take on different takes of what this universe is.
I see, WB would never do this without Nolan. Like, they love Nolan too much to go behind his back.
Well, Nolan himself has said that's like, yeah, you could totally sequelize this. I might do it one day.
He was heavy on trying to do a video game sequel to this for a while.
He said a video game was in development, and then we never heard of it again.
I think that'd be a fascinating idea.
That game.
He said it was coming out like next year and was being made, and he was working on it. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I think he just made it up. I think he just thought if he said it, that it would be real because
That it was Inception.
I don't think Nolan knows how video games work.
Well, to be fair, like, he also, like James mentioned, like, the Dark Knight game was in development and tanked, like...
And we didn't know about that until years later.
I still want a video on,
Hey,
like,
hear
the
that,
Inception
Disney, you
game.
sons of bitches?
I don't know why. I have this mental image of Nolan watching a screen that was playing Twisted Metal, and he's just wowed. Like he's discovered video games in this moment, and this is the most amazing thing in the world to him. And then from now on, he's just going to make Twisted Metal knockoff video games.
Sweet tooth. So going back to what MB was saying, though, like at the beginning of past commentary, I made a joke about, Inception's influence on Paprika's influence on Inception. If you want to talk about where to take the Inception universe, look at Paprika and what it does with the exact same technology. Like, you really can do anything with that premise.
And not only that, but I've seen Paprika, and for as many people that say that Inception is basically a ripoff of it and whatsoever, it's like, I feel like Paprika is such a different animal while at the same time being the same structure that it's like, yeah, you could, like, it's an escalation. It's the natural escalation of it.
You can make the argument that Paprika is just what's going on in Japan during Inception.
It's almost a weird sequel, despite the fact that it came before.
Well, I'm gonna put like a weird analogy for like an Inception series of different media out there. Think of it as like the heavy metal movie, where there's just this one thing that falls in different places and then a story takes place. Like you have the dream machine that exists. You could do anything with that. What if someone just found the dream machine who didn't know what it was and then discovered what it did? Or there was another thing with the government who was using it, or another private contractor. Anything could be done with that.
Take the antiviral approach, and people have hijacked these machines because they're desperate to get inside of celebrity dreams.
Or hell, like, go really crazy with it. What if there's something in a dream that wants out into the real world and is self-aware?
Yeah.
We're just making a sequel to The Cell now. We have to go inside a murderer's mind to find out where he hid his last victim.
Abandon ship. Can we do commentary for The Cell one day?
I've been obsessed with The Cell since I was a kid.
We missed a fantastic joke in the old commentary. And we're just talking about, just imagine if Cillian Murphy had been cast as Batman. And when he was running at Joker, like on the Bat bike, simultaneously, I think Mike and James both did the same impression of Cillian Murphy as Batman, instead of like the traditional, just some sort of horrible will-o'-the-wisp noise you both made. But we're listening to it pitched down, so it sounds like the saddest demon is just losing his soul to the winter wind. It's just
the saddest
Losing his
demon was my
soul.
favorite children's book growing up.
And now I really want to watch that version of Batman where he's so sad he has to run over the Joker, but he's still tough as fucking nails.
I just want to go back to this. Speaking of our voices being pitched down and Cody's weird analogies for it, he called himself an oak tree who would come to life earlier.
There was
To
reason.
tell people the stories of the wind. And then we talked about how sad it would be to be a tree for like 20 minutes, and Cody decided at the end that we had proven that he personally is better than any tree.
Which is
Okay.
weird because we didn't start there.
No, James is talking about how great it'd be to be a tree, so I was defending mankind as a whole through the only lens I know, which is my lens.
Wait, I'm confused. Are you saying that you're the superior man or the superior tree?
Mankind as a whole are better than trees. I'm also better than a tree, but I had to prove it to myself first before I can make that by case statement.
Trees did not create The Last Airbender or Avatar, so they have that.
But they also didn't make the animated version, so...
I mean, you could argue that they did because the animated version couldn't exist without paper.
Oh, come on. Let's not pull that bullshit.
That tree bullshit.
Next, I'm going to have to thank pencils for existing so I could write notes.
You should.
No,
I
fuck
mean,
it. I
what's
use
wrong
blood.
with pencils?
Pencil, the poor man's pen.
Look. I generally use at this point, like whenever I draw, I generally use markers because I just find that to be my preference in terms of visual style. But like, I will say pencils are vastly superior to pens because pens can get messy depending on what pen you particularly have to use.
You can still get, like, pencil shit all over your hand, like dust and all that kind of stuff. You can smudge pencil.
Yeah, but that's more easily washable. Like, you can just rub that
Washable.
off.
Don't rub your art.
You know, nothing is worse than eraser dust.
Not a fan.
Literally nothing. Nothing that has ever happened in the history of humankind is worse than
It's
eraser.
worse than the Holocaust.
I also want to throw in mechanical pencils as being pretty terrible.
Oh, fuck mechanical pencils.
I'm so
That is-
confused that they exist. Those fucking steampunk pencils.
Okay, am I insane for thinking that mechanical pencils are just an excuse to outsource just tiny, thin sticks of lead that have no purpose?
I will say it's very satisfying to load a mechanical pencil.
Well,
It
yeah,
is.
but that just fulfills the basic childhood need to click something.
That is
Like-
true. It's a little bit like if the thing you liked about heroin was preparing the heroin.
Oh, well, it's like smokers that say, I just need something to do with my hands.
Not only that, but it's like, if you're going to go to those lengths, why not just make a toy that pops up, as opposed to making something that's completely arbitrary and useless?
They do
Because
kind of make those. They're called, like, fidget cubes, and they've got all sorts of little doodads on them so you can play around and annoy everyone in your vicinity.
it's true, but here's the great thing about mechanical pencils, though. Survival of the fittest. Just loose lead that any child could consume and die from. That's better for mankind. Also-
going on to what you were saying, MB, I have a theory about mechanical pencils. I think they're like how the chicken nuggets are made up of all the discarded parts of the chicken. Mechanical pencils are made up of the lead that breaks off of the actual pencils they're making.
Or they
Yeah,
just
but-
grind it all up.
Yeah, but chicken nuggets actually serve a purpose.
Ooh, burn.
Oh, chicken nuggets are just... I was eating chicken nuggets last week and just remembering with every bite that this is just goo.
Oh, sure.
Just green goo. Green goo, so good. God, I want chicken nuggets again. Also, you know what's really great? Erasable pens.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Wait, hold up. In the commentary, we just said if you were going to get an STD, but I missed what we were talking about.
Oh, it's a mystery to you now. Try to guess, Cody. Try to guess.
No.
We have an hour left.
We also
Those
laugh.
have, like, little breathers on them or something.
God, that was like a fucking time vortex we just got stuck into for a second. That was so weird. Past us was laughing with current us, and it was just weird. What if with the third level down, we fucking do the same
We're
thing?
on the snow mountain. We're firing off the rifle. It's all in the third act.
I really hope next year when we do our commentary, we pause that exact moment to hear breathable balls.
Bane impressions with that voice make me so happy.
Why didn't we do that in the past? We should apply that filter more often.
We should.
Also,
Wow.
just to enhance things, I want everyone at home to know that I'm currently eating a star cake.
What is a star cake?
Oh, we can hear the crinkling, trust me.
Is that like a zebra cake?
Oh, no, it's like a big chocolate Rice Krispie.
Oh, okay.
Classic white trash snack, staple of my childhood.
Oh, that's nothing like zebra cakes, then. I want a zebra cake.
Like, you're just aiming for the worst foods today.
A Christmas tree cake. Those are also good. I mean, they're the same thing, but
Oh, Christmas tree cakes taste better. I don't know how they just do.
they do. It's the glitter, I think, the edible glitter.
Pass. However,
Fuck you, Cody.
cosmic brownies, yes. And the strawberry shortcake rolls, after you throw them in the freezer for a couple minutes. Those are
I've
the
never
creme de la
tried
creme.
that.
Oh, it's good.
I used to like cosmic brownies. I got sour to them very quickly. I don't know what it was. I think it was just overconsumption when I was a kid. It's just once you find those, it's like kid crack, and then you eat so much of it, and it's like I can't do it.
Who makes it? The Watcher?
Possibly.
We got robot cum jokes in last year, so that's a proud tradition. And now I brought it into this commentary, so we're continuing tradition.
Oh,
And
We
I
had
just wanna
robot
say-
dick jokes earlier.
It's true. Yeah, never mind. I guess we don't even have to bring it up. But as long as we're talking about robot cum,
go on.
we've got the new Alien movie coming up, and I feel like they're pushing that one so hard, which is encouraging. Because it's an R-rated horror film, and it just feels like a weird thing for Fox to be like, yep, put $100 million into advertising that.
It has the alien name, which I think would do good.
Right. I hope.
Then I'm sure if they don't advertise it correctly, Ridley Scott will murder everyone.
They have such a good relationship with Ridley Scott. I don't know how that works, because he's provided them a lot of bombs, like big expensive bombs. And half the time it's because the studio just decided to butcher his movie, and he went, I'll just put out a DVD, it'll be fine.
Well, it's like they're aware of the fact that, like, yeah, sometimes we fuck you over, so we'll just let you go sometimes. He's kind of like Fincher in that way, where it's like, yeah, Fincher's movies don't really make a lot of money, but the studio knows they're getting something.
I always wonder about that. Like, certain filmmakers never return a lot of money, but they must, like, have huge rentals or something. Or maybe it's just the prestige that comes along with having those names attached to them. But studios will stand behind some of these guys that really don't return cash, which is great. I'm glad they get jobs.
Well,
Well, I think a big part of it, too, is not just the fact that it's Ridley Scott, but the fact that, say what you will about Prometheus, I certainly have, we all certainly have, listen to Prometheus episode of Box Office Pulp.
Promotion!
Prometheus had a ton of hype behind it, a ton of, like, it made a pretty good amount. Like,
I think Prometheus was about $400 million worldwide, which is good for an R-rated horror film.
And so a lot of people, this movie, like, I think what Fox is banking on is the idea that Alien Covenant is the movie that they were ultimately promised, or thinking that they were going into. They did not expect Prometheus. Yeah, people did not expect Prometheus to be what it was.
though I am, I feel like in every episode we end up talking about Alien Covenant. And I feel like I think this episode may come out probably after Alien Covenant's out, so that's even, like, this commentary will come out after.
What, 3 weeks? Is it?
This doesn't go up, this commentary doesn't go up till May 25th. That's the anniversary.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, we must have recorded originally on the 11th.
We recorded super early, yeah. I'm glad to know from people who've seen the footage of Covenant that it's way more Prometheus-like than the marketing puts on.
Yeah, because the marketing basically sells it as either a remake of the first movie or just a straight-up modern slasher horror movie starring the Xenomorph, which is weird.
Yeah.
I'd be real mad about both of those outcomes.
That's the weird thing about the campaign for Alien. They're not even really advertising it like it's an Alien movie. They're advertising it like it's a generic space horror movie, but the Xenomorph is there.
I'm confused about some of the camera shots. I hope that is either a stylistic choice that's intentionally made, or that's just something that was filmed for, like, the TV spots and all that, because some of that is very, like, it looks DTV-esque in a weird way.
Are you talking about the found footage kind of looking stuff?
Yeah, like...
Apparently that was just made for advertising, from what I've heard.
I think it's a lot of the viral stuff.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be an issue when the actual movie hits, I would hope.
I think it's fascinating that Fox has realized, and this is a weird thing to realize, which is Ridley Scott is a name. Like, if you just put Ridley Scott and then alien on something, people will know. And that's bizarre to me because it's not like he's a Spielberg.
It's hard to get that notoriety of the director. Even Christopher Nolan, they have to be like, Christopher Nolan, Batman.
Yeah, there's pretty much just Spielberg, Tarantino, and kind of Tim Burton as far as, like, directors literally everyone knows by name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
even Tim Burton, like, isn't a guarantee to get you money.
Not anymore, no.
nah. But, like, I would say that, like, Ridley Scott, I don't know, Ridley Scott, Fincher has that quality, too. People know that David Fincher.
People do know the Fincher name at this point, yeah.
But Ridley Scott, that is a good
I don't know if
point.
that's true.
I think people
I
can
do
connect
feel
it.
like.
They're familiar with his movies, I would say, but not necessarily him.
Yeah, what's that the thing? We're not talking about, like, movie people. Like, if you asked your mom who directed the movie she's watching, would she know that was David Fincher or not?
Probably
My mother
not.
wouldn't know who Steven Spielberg is.
No, well, that's the thing. There's certain ones that translate to the general audience. That's what I'm finding fascinating about the Ridley Scott thing. Ridley Scott, like, I've discovered, does in fact translate into a marketable name like a Spielberg or a Burton. Like, Burton was just a pop culture figure. Spielberg is a pop culture figure, so it expands the general audience. Nobody can tell by just looking at the movie, but if you just throw from Steven Spielberg up on a trailer, people go, oh, that dude. It's fascinating. That's the same with Ridley Scott, the last director in the world you would expect that to work with.
Especially considering what an eclectic, like, resume that he has, because Ridley Scott is one of the most diverse filmmakers I think I've ever known of. Like, this is a dude who made Legend.
How do you have Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, and Gladiator inside of you?
And Legend. Ooh.
And you know what? Tony Scott had the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Scott's name could be used to market a movie.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about how eclectic his career was.
No, how eclectic his career was as well, but it is interesting. Like, his name was used as marketing.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird, and it's weird how that's marketing to a completely different audience than the Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to admit it, but there is one other name that I feel like does reach that level of notoriety. Actually, two names. The first one is Michael Bay.
Oh, definitely.
Michael Bay.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as I hate to admit it at this point, Zack Snyder. I feel like Zack Snyder.
Why'd he turn to Creed?
You're honestly asking me that?
But I feel like you can say Zack Snyder to pretty much anyone, and they know that he directed at least one of the things he has directed because, like,
Snyder is so infamous now.
I don't know.
It's not even about the infamy though. It's about like he had the 300 crowd, but then he had the Watchmen crowd, but then he had the bad DC movie crowd. Like, he's had peaks of his career that are vastly differentiating.
I don't think that translates to the general audience, though.
Yeah.
I think that still stays within our circle.
No, I think it did by the time that Sucker Punch came out. I think by the time Sucker Punch came out that he was pushed so hard as Zack Snyder, the director of 300 and Dawn of the Dead, that he did become something to the general audience.
I don't know. I think it started with Sucker Punch. I don't think it's really happened until Dawn of Justice. But I've heard a lot of people who don't fucking follow directors or know who directed anything bringing up Zack Snyder as the comic book movie guy.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. I think he'd break out more in that regard if he went outside that box. Because I think that's kind of held him back from, like, not held him back from it. It's like, okay, he has it, but I don't think he's going to sustain it unless he moved outside of that box. And he's going to be in that box for so long that I don't think his name is, and not even to speak of the quality of the films, but I don't think his name is going to hold on to any kind of marketing notoriety once that cycle's over. Unless, because he has to start back over from like the bottom again because he's doing something completely else. He's too synonymous.
Well, Mike, you forget. Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Oh God, guys,
Owls of Ga'Hoole is a really good movie. Shut the fuck up.
guys, no, in the commentary, guys, shut up. In the actual commentary, we just brought up the idea of doing the commentary on the commentary. It just had. Oh, we mentioned the just slower idea too.
Who mentioned it? Because I want to kill. Because whoever did, so I want to kill it, and that applies to me too.
James brings up the idea that he likes to think that this commentary, the original commentary, is our own version of Inception. Like we're going to have a cathartic end at the end. And I can't tell if it's Mike or myself who follows that up by saying, "Are you saying we get to the end and it's all a lie and we have to record it again but deeper?" So I think technically either Mike or myself is the one to suggest the idea that we should do this again, set up by James. And James jumps on the idea and says we should totally do that.
Aha! So we can still technically blame James because we could have been told no.
Yeah.
It's true. We're children. We just need to be
I
told
feel like
no
all
by an
three
adult.
of you are complicit now, and I'm the only one who's sane.
Why didn't you say no?
This is your fault, Daddy James.
I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Never say Daddy James again.
Daddy James? If you say it 4 times in a mirror, what happens?
I appear and I'm very confused.
Oh God, we're still talking about doing the commentary on the commentary during the old commentary.
Well, we became obsessed with this for a while.
It's been a couple of minutes now. We're really into it.
Okay, we're talking about doing it as its own podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know, Past Cody.
What was the original show about? We got one in. We're not even fully done with this commentary, and we have no idea what happened in the original commentary, by and large. Oh, here's James is the one who came up with the date idea.
Yep.
You bastard.
And we held true to that promise, and I am so proud of us.
Hold on.
Oh God, no. I suggested we always do it. Why did I do that?
God.
Oh God, now we're getting to specifics on what we're doing. Why are no one listening to this knows what's happening? They can't hear it this far down.
We're listening to ourselves come up with the idea for what we're doing right now, and it's like going back in time to the moment you're murdered. And it's like you can do nothing to stop it.
This is just as surreal as I thought it would be, too. I'm so happy.
Solve our commentary.
Oh God. Now,
Past James is commenting on future James, who's present James right now.
Current Cody's talking about past Cody, talking about future James, talking about past James. Oh no, I've got cross-eyed.
And Mike is silent in all fronts.
Quick!
Yeah, notice I'm not being complicit in any of this.
It's true. But Mike just announced he hates this podcast in the past, which is a sentiment he's held for at least a year, if not longer.
Oh, he mentioned it at the very start of this commentary, and he will mention it every single commentary for as long as we do this.
I hate this fucking podcast and this idea.
And yet you keep coming back for more.
You can't do it after me. God damn it.
Just did. I still really want to master the idea of doing this Terminator 2 theme on here.
Please don't try. No.
People are listening to this.
No, please. Cody, I swear to God.
What are you gonna do? Come over to my house and comment over me?
I already did that today.
Oh no!
Oh,
he's
thank God, we're in the hour-long third act.
Honestly, yes. We have an hour left, and they're just setting up the finale.
I included the after-credit scene in the file we're listening to, by the way.
Were we doing the Bois Noise app in the past?
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't tell if it was just very faint from Mike's end, or if it was actually from the past commentary.
We were doing in the past, too. I had it up.
Oh, God. No, past us. This is not the best idea we've ever had.
See, past Mike was so mad, too.
We should
What I like is
podcast
we're
1,000
listening
times.
we're listening to Box Office Pulp devolve.
Shut the fuck up, past Cody. I like how this commentary for the commentary actually started off really intelligent, Cody brought us into. And then I don't know what we've been doing.
Both commentaries did that. This one had some pretty good stuff for about 5 minutes, and then it completely fell apart. The original had some really good stuff for about the first 30 minutes, and now I don't know what's happening.
We came back. I mean, the movie was 2.5 hours long. We came back around. We just took a break for a while to talk about other shit. Like
True.
Avatar. Like, at least we didn't talk about how marketable Ridley Scott's name was for 45 minutes. And Goosebumps. And how racist Ryan Gosling apparently is. Not true. Don't sue us, Ryan Gosling. We don't need you using your fucking Young Hercules money against us.
Though I will say, Cody did say that Frank Grillo was racist.
Okay, so one, Grillo's gonna murder me. We can just accept that as fact. But if I'm going down, Ryan Gosling's going to blow up Mike's house. While Mike is inside the house, probably.
What, we all have Hollywood nemesis now?
I thought my
Yes.
Hollywood nemesis was already Adrian Brody.
You're doing double team duty. You're gonna have your own Sinister Six pretty soon.
The Hollywood Sinister Six. Grillo, Brody, Gosling, Giamatti, Walken as the Vulture,
Oh, Walken would be a good Vulture.
and Christina Hendricks.
And Christina Hendricks. Does her boobs count as 2 more?
Oh, she's Craven the Hunter.
Okay, I'm just trying to stretch out this list. Also, we haven't said this joke since this actor showed up, but magic. There you go. Oh, that dragged me to hell again.
I feel like we need to even this out and just mention something constructive about the movie. Does anyone have any nice things to say about Inception we haven't said before?
I was recently doing a, this is weird to say on a movie podcast because I feel like this has been said on a bunch of movie podcasts, but I was recently doing a list of my favorite films of all time just to see how far I could go. Like, and I wound up making a list that ended up going down to 60, which I thought was pretty impressive considering that I'm generally kind of I'm not very well versed in film, and for as much as I love film, like there's a lot of stuff that I actually haven't seen. Inception, when all is said and done, still made my top 10. That's how much I actually do love and appreciate this movie, is that it's still, even after all this time, I was like, oh yeah, totally, Inception, top 10. Like, I still think it is everything that I love about cinema boiled down into a single, like, cinematic experience. I truly do. Just from a technical standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, I think it just all clicks together in a way that is uniquely what I want out of a movie experience every time. Like, I've never experienced a film that works on that level. I have films that I love more than this, but that's mostly out of nostalgia, or, like in the case of Jaws, like, I love that because it's so well made, but also of its time, so like adds like an extra layer to it. Inception is a modern movie done perfectly, in my mind. So, there's my nice thing to say about it.
Box Office Pulp recommends enjoying this movie without us talking over it.
Oh yeah, definitely did that.
Oh, I'm sure the audience turned off this and is just watching Inception at this point. We could say anything.
I was waiting for you to say something extreme to go with that, but then I remembered you did a 9/11 joke already, so I think you've met your quota.
Also, I just want to tag up MB's really constructive thoughts on Inception with an idea I just had. Mike, when you edit this, can you just put in the track of the original commentary pitched down into the background? And next year, the commentary that we're recording now is pitched up. And you record that also, so all three are playing at once.
Would that file be listenable?
No.
I don't think so, but we could try. It'd be
We
funny.
can try. That's the important thing.
I'll try. I'm terrified to try.
Just do a 5-minute, test of it. The sound of Smash Mouth has been referenced.
Oh, I will. Oh, I will.
I can't believe it's been a year since we discovered that, because that was amazing.
How weird is it that in that year, Smash Mouth has become a ubiquitous meme? It's
Hey,
really
now.
bizarre.
You're an all-star.
I feel like Smash Mouth has always been a meme.
I mean, since Shrek, yeah.
It got hardcore this past year, though. Like, every time I load up YouTube, like in the trending thing, I see a random Smash Mouth edit. They get really, really esoteric.
I'm surprised Smash Mouth hasn't been to the White House.
I think we're arriving there. I'm surprised they didn't play over Trump's inauguration. They couldn't find anyone else.
Are they actually, apparently Trump's inauguration brought in, a super huge shit ton of money, larger than any other inauguration, which makes me wonder where it all went. And 2, are Smash Mouth actually Trump supporters?
I imagine so. I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna guess, based
Look, we
on
already got
Smash Mouth, that yes, they
We
are.
already have a
They're terrible
sinister
people.
6 of movie stars who want to murder us. We don't need to add a
Yeah, but
Oh,
house
is Smash
band.
Mouth are the enforcers?
Smash
Yes.
Mouth isn't threatening, though. That's the thing. Grillo is threatening.
I don't know. We don't know how sharp their frosted tips are.
Oh, you do not want that guy to roll you, as the prophecy foretold.
But
And he brands that L on your forehead.
he looks kind of dumb with his finger and his thumb.
Thank you, everybody. And then we all blow our brains out right here.
I
and
feel like it right now. I really feel like it. I think we've reached the end of sanity.
I like how we're doing this as we're talking about the Fisher King in the old commentary.
It's like the difference. Like, look, we can be smart, guys. Don't worry. I'm sorry about what's happening right now. I don't know what this podcast is. Is it a movie podcast? Is it a listenable podcast? I don't know. It's a mystery. Tweet at us at Box Office Pulp.
Let's put up a Twitter poll.
Promotion.
See, that's the problem with you, Mike. You never have enough faith in the product that we're putting out. So you gotta sell the shit. You gotta hustle like William Castle. That's what this commentary is missing. A preamble where one of us, I'm gonna assume Cody, because he has the most presentable voice, comes out and explains the gimmick of the commentary. This is actually 2 commentaries happening simultaneously, bridged by time.
Oh my god, we can just rip off, oh shit, I'm forgetting the movie that he had 3D ghosts in Ghost Finders.
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. We should just do it like that. If you put on this set of earmuffs, you can hear the original commentary, the ghost commentary. If you put on this set of earmuffs, you'll hear the new commentary.
But by mentioning it within the commentary, we've now negated the idea that we can actually do that as preamble to the commentary, unless that was always the point.
Always. Also, audience at home. The Tingler is loose in your living room. Scream! Scream!
Oh god, you know what would be a horrible thing to do to the people listening to this? Because this is just where we're at now. What if you fucked with the channels? So, old commentary is coming on the left channel, new commentary is coming on the right.
And in the middle is mush.
You know how L. Ron Hubbard did that book that was apparently so amazing that it caused people to throw it across the room and leap out of buildings? Which is false, by the way. That was complete stupidity.
I think you're talking about The Happening.
But this would be the real life version of that, because if you put that on and one commentary is playing in one ear and the other commentary is playing the other ear, someone will die.
Probably us when Ryan Gosling tracks us down. He's like, "Why did you do this to me?"
Oh, it's like the end of The Departed. Like, we just walk into a room and fucking Gosling's there with plastic on his feet.
Cody just drops to his knees. Just fucking kill me, man. Just fucking kill me. Just kill me, man. The amount of times I have referenced the ending of The Departed
It's
in my...
the amount of times it's been referenced on this fucking podcast.
It's the great... Matt Damon's death in The Departed is the greatest film death of all time.
Then why didn't you use it in the Game Over Awards?
He's got you there.
Because I had Thomas and Martha Wayne dying historic throughout history. That took up 5 slots.
Also, spoilers for The Departed, folks at home. Scream!
Matt Damon is close to your house. Scream!
Hour 48 minutes in, we've officially lost our mind.
Spoilers, The Departed dies at the end.
Also, just gonna put a timestamp for the commentary we're listening to in case anybody needs it for help. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. I'm gonna wait till it's half over, but hour 49 minutes and 11 seconds, 12 seconds there, in case you want to sync it up. I don't know why.
Oh, you're a second off from me.
Who cares? Who fucking cares?
Also, I just want to mention... Scream! I just want to mention this for hilarity's sake. It's not the 25th slot, but the 26th slot on my month of movies that I'm watching, The Departed.
Oh, well, we just ruined it for you. Congratulations.
Oh no, I'm already aware of the ending, but that was just amazing coincidental timing.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be because you already saw Infernal Affairs.
We've been recording for 5 years.
How amazing would it be if MB had seen Infernal Affairs, but nothing like The Goonies? It's fucking random. Exactly. I still stand by that. Tom Hardy is professionally Tom Hardy.
Did you see the news story today where he chased down a crook allegedly and apparently captured the man, did a citizen's arrest, and broke his leg? Not Tom Hardy didn't break his leg. He broke another man's leg.
Oh, did he press a detonator button and the dude's car fell from the ceiling?
How fucking terrifying is it? You steal an old lady's purse, you're running, you look behind you. Bane is chasing after you.
I think I'm forgetting the exact quote, but I think he shouted out something like, "I caught the cunt and now he's got a broken leg."
Oh, I love Tom Hardy.
I don't know if that's real, but it sounds too cool to not be real.
I want it to be.
Yeah.
Okay, remember the fucking story from a few years back where Vin Diesel stopped a woman who was in the middle of murdering a man or something, came after her with a baseball bat?
Fucking Kiefer Sutherland stopped an armed robbery once. Remember when Werner Herzog fucking pulled Matt Damon from a burning car?
No. That sounds extra fake.
That totally fucking happened.
It happened. It did. That's a real story.
What?
They weren't together or anything. Werner Herzog came across an accident and pulled Matt Damon from the accident.
Tell me, when Matt Damon saw Werner Herzog grabbing him, did he say, "Just kill me, man, just fucking kill me, just fucking kill me, man"?
What I love is Matt Damon was saved in real life. I like how we're all just mesmerized.
And was he on Mars when it happened?
Yes. He was actually at Loch Ness. It was while filming Incident at Loch Ness.
I just love the idea of anyone, forget this Matt Damon, anyone being pulled out of a car by Werner Herzog. That's the first face you
one
see.
armed pulled out, too. Werner Herzog just reached, this is dead fucking serious. He reached down with one arm and pulled out Matt Damon from the wreck of the car.
You are safe now, my brother.
Werner Herzog is not a film director, he just does that as a hobby. He's actually Matt Damon's guardian angel, and all throughout Matt Damon's life, when bad things have happened, Werner Herzog has been there to help him out and guide him.
It's remember the montage in Futurama of Leela's parents helping her throughout her life? But it's Matt Damon and fucking Werner Herzog, including Matt Damon nodding off in front of his word processor with the script for Good Will Hunting in front of him. He tucks him into bed, sits down, and finishes the third act. They did have to take the strangulation out before they shot it, though.
I really like this draft of Good Will Hunting, but I just didn't understand the part where Matt Damon decides to flee the country and turns into the Lord of Darkness, and there's a plague of rats. Also, the clouds are upside down, and I didn't understand the symbolism. I don't know what you're going for here, Matt.
Then Herzog slowly lowers himself upside down from an air vent and makes a slit motion across his throat. It's like, oh no, we'll film it.
So, is Werner Herzog the manifestation of someone's actual dream scenario?
More of a nightmare.
I'm sure we're going to do an entire episode on Werner Herzog one day.
Fascinating man.
He is.
Like, I'm still flabbergasted that he decided to be the villain in the first Jack Reacher movie. Like, what a hell of a thing.
I love how aware Herzog is that he's Werner Herzog.
Has anybody else here seen Incident at Loch Ness?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my god, you guys have to watch Incident at Loch Ness. It's Werner Herzog and Zach Penn playing themselves hunting the Loch Ness Monster in a faux documentary.
Do they find it?
Yes.
Oh, spoilers.
And rap video model Katana Baker is there, also playing herself, and Werner Herzog saves her at one point while she's wearing an American flag bikini. It's fucking incredible. And Zach Penn, who wrote the movie, is playing this sleazy Hollywood producer version of himself, who keeps putting everyone in danger because he wants to find the Loch Ness Monster like he's Quint or something. And Werner Herzog is the heroic figure who's trying to direct the movie and be a normal documentarian.
I like the idea that this is what happened to Zach Penn after he was kicked off of X-Men The Last Stand.
This was like right
after. He just broke his mind.
So if we can have something constructive on this commentary.
I appreciate the fact you're attempting.
I gotta give my best. I'd like to think this is a great behind the curtain moment for anyone who happens to listen to a lot of podcasts and happens to listen to ours. We rarely have a plan. We just kind of get together with vague good intentions.
Describe life, man.
Really
vague good intentions.
And it's just, commentaries are fascinating because we can't even use editing to hide this fact. Like, we just have to think on our toes. That was a weird time to pause because I just heard Bing Bong Goes to Die, so... Sorry, Pixar fans, I just ruined one of those for you. But it's fascinating for me, too, to think back on... I guess it's not fascinating for anyone listening to the show. I should put words in your mouth. But to me, it's fascinating to listen to the old episodes, even a year ago, and just see how much things have changed for us, or things we've covered, jokes that we've either forgotten or have continued to use over and over again. And it just reminds me of all the weird little things that we picked up and have had to abandon over the years, like Tales from the Bop, how we keep talking about it, but it doesn't really come up anymore. Or even our It Came from IMDb, which you've unfortunately been forced to retire since IMDb no longer has a comment section. And all that stuff seems like it was yesterday, but, man, going back to this commentary, I've forgotten all of these weird things we were saying, and yet I'll probably say very similar things without intentionally meaning to do so. Time, man. It's a weird flat circle.
It is. Podcasts, when you're on a podcast, it's like a weird, condensed version of life. It's like in a year of podcasting, you do all of these things and go through all of these different ideas. You have all of these sub-jokes. You have all these things, kicks you're on. All of these things you're picking up on. You just kind of move on. You do like 50 other things. In real life, it doesn't really move in that way. But in podcasting, it's so sped up, where it's like 10 years of life is a month of podcasting. It's very bizarre.
It's just so weird to have so many weird snapshots just there on the internet forever, because God, like, we've referenced a couple of times on the podcast before. How weird is it that we have a Man of Steel episode where we're super positive?
Yeah. I regret most of my opinions. I don't even want to do initial reaction to movies anymore because I know they're just going to be wrong in 2 years.
I was not on that one. Just want to state for the record.
Oh God, look back at our first couple of episodes where this was trying to be a serious movie analysis podcast, and all of the episodes were multi-part.
Yeah, we don't have the attention span to do a 4-hour series that's a deep dive. We can
Dark
only
Knight
intersperse
Rises
that
kills.
between jokes.
Well, it's funny thing is, like, I always think of we started off deadly serious, but think about it. In the first 5 seconds of Prometheus Part 1, the robot cum joke thing was born.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, remember the wind-up to Prometheus where, like, Cody, you were sending us, like, photos from the Art of Prometheus book. We were, like, reading essays and shit.
Mike memorized the Poetic Edda. He had it tattooed on his fingers.
I already had it there.
Oh, okay.
I will say, we still do the same exact amount of research. We're just less, I think, up our ass about it.
No, I'm still pretty far up my ass.
Oh, I guess that's true. I mean, I still do tons of weird-ass shit when it calls for it. You don't try to do film analysis on everything. James and I just did an episode on Logan. I did not at any point bring out the Poetic Edda.
That's probably for the best. I don't know where it would have fit in.
I could have found a way.
No, don't do
Actually, no, it would have fit in a couple different places.
it. Okay, goddammit.
I still do absolutely no research. It serves me well.
We
A lot of times
resent
you're
you
watching these for
terribly.
the first time, which is always amazing to me. Like, wow, he's going right in there.
I know how weird it is to talk about the podcast, but I think the thing, as we do all the research, but our joke quota has quadrupled, and I think it's just we discovered that there's an invisible structure to Box Office Pulp. We could never describe it. I could never tell you what it is or what it entails, what goes into it. What are the exact things you have to do to prepare for it? But when we go into Box Office Pulp mode, it makes sense. Like, I've never walked away. It's rare I walk away from an episode going, I didn't get to hit all of the notes I wrote down or all of the things I got to say. But that episode doesn't come away being, like, dry and just a bunch of, like, film analysis stuff.
I think back to my original plan for the show. When I was crafting this in my head, it was going to be very segmented.
Oh, yeah.
Like, each episode was going to be basically bits. So we would always do, like, an intro piece or then, like, an analysis phase. And there were bits, too, like, there was going to be a great debate where we're going to hopefully find one person who didn't like the movie and one person that did, and then make them debate each other for, like, 10 minutes about the pros and cons of the film.
Yeah, that was going to be a thing.
Now,
You can hear some of that if you listen to our Behind the Mask episode. That was our test episode.
yeah.
And quite a bit of that's in there.
Yeah, you were going to make this a radio show.
Yep. And now it's gone into the complete opposite direction, where it feels like there is nothing really holding the episodes together. It gets really bad during the midpoint of our existing set of shows because it feels like they never end. We just have no idea how to end them, so they'll just kind of ramble for a while. We've gotten slightly better on that.
Oh, I have to invent an ending for like every fucking episode.
Well, the thing
Box
is
Office
that you have
Pulp
to
is
think
alive. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it.
Well, the way that I think it could be best summed up is Box Office Pulp is our most, like, out of all the shows that we do on the network, and we do a lot of shows on the network, like Pulp Nightmare, and Supergirl Power Hour, and Graphic Novelism.
Promotion! Also, we were just doing the cross-promotion joke literally like 3 seconds ago in the commentary. That joke has been around for at least a year, which is nice.
Hold on.
But,
Hold on. Okay, now go.
But in terms of the shows that, like, we do, I feel like Box Office Pulp is the most, and this is weird saying this because we do Pulp Nightmare, Box Office Pulp is the most, like, improv for me, because I feel like it's the most off the cuff, and that's why I like doing it so much, is because it feels the least intensive, so it feels the more freeing. It feels like something where it's like I can really kind of dovetail and expand wherever I feel I need to, rather than feel an obligation to. Like, Graphic Novelism is a show that I love recording, but it also takes a lot of work to record that. Box Office Pulp feels very freeform. It feels very nuanced in the way that we managed to get good points across, despite the fact that it's very basically a general conversation between the four of us.
Yeah, I've remarked a lot that's kind of funny that graphic novelism accidentally became the show Box Office Pulp was originally going to be. Like, that's our super serious, research-intensive show that's heavily controlled. This is our monthly party.
Well, it's a movie party, but I think the interesting thing about Box Office Pulp, we retained what we set out to do, and not to, like, anybody listening to this going like, hey, look at what you guys have been doing for the last 2 hours. Stop jerking your podcast. We're not jerking the podcast.
I was going to say, when we started this episode, I mentioned how masturbatory this was. It got real masturbatory.
It is, but you know what? I can say, as a person who's on this podcast, I like this podcast quite a bit, despite what I say. Despite the ongoing joke, despite the fact I do hate the act of recording it and editing it. But I like its existence. And the thing is I think it works because we retain the film analysis portion we set out to do because we all just love talking about film and we have a similar sense of humor. So us talking about film and liking the film analysis, pulling out themes and subtext and blah, 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 is part of our natural film conversing repertoire, essentially.
This is kind of just the conversations we were having before we had podcasts.
Yeah, so we're not, I think we thought we were going to have to force the film analysis stuff and cut down on how we naturally talk, where we talk about robot cum and shit. But it just kind of comes out naturally. So it has this weird loose quality where it's the most broken podcast that's ever lived. And maybe sometimes it's not really a movie podcast, like right now, but you know what? I'm a fan of it.
The way I've always described it is Box Office Pulp is a comedy podcast that uses movies as a subject.
I feel like this is so weird that we're talking about this, by the way.
I will say, I know, in our defense, we've been doing podcasts for like 6 years now, and we have never once talked about them on any of the shows. So we're allowed to do this once.
Yeah.
It's the Inception thing. We made it full circle. Just like Christopher Nolan making a movie about movie making, we're making a podcast about podcasting.
Oh, God.
Wow.
We're still at level 1.
Deeper.
We still have to do this next year. Oh,
Deeper
God.
and deeper. Deeper until you got no dick left.
Long.
Oh, then I can replace it with a bionic dick. Also, I'm back to hating this
circle.
podcast.
Good.
Thanks,
Okay.
Cody. You've ruined Box Office Pulp for me.
And
I
with 25 minutes to go.
A new record.
Damn it.
That's going to be my benchmark for each year to see how fast I can get you to hate the fact that we're doing what we're doing.
Has anybody muted it yet?
Nope.
Nope, still going strong.
Kinda
I'm
proud
proud
of
of us.
I mean,
Cody
I have it
gave
really
it.
low. Does that count? I have it
Whatever
very
you-
low. Does that count, though?
I keep turning mine up and down because there are certain parts I want to hear what they're talking about, certain parts where I don't give a shit what we're talking about.
If you can still hear the timbre of our booming, then I think it counts.
I can still make out what everybody's saying, so.
Yeah.
Mine's been at the same volume the entire time, so.
So, before we get away from the subject, I do want to say, because we've never actually talked about this, the story of how Box Office Pulp came about.
We never told this on anything?
Nope, never. This is the first time we've ever talked about any of the podcasts on a podcast.
Is this how we introduce Kinnison as our new host?
Shh, keep it a secret.
Too late. It's on the commentary. You can't take it out without messing with the timing. Ha ha!
Let's see how
Shut up,
easy we
Cody.
are. Shh. Yeah, shut up. James told you to shut up.
So, we had Cody on a Pulp Nightmare for the very first time, to record credits, I believe it was,
First look.
which is very apropos. And after we recorded the episode, we were just talking for a couple of hours, and out of nowhere, you just said, so anyway, I really want to do a movie podcast. Can we do that? And I don't know if you can confirm or deny this. I've suspected for years you only became friends with us so you could one day Shanghai us into doing a podcast with you.
I think you have the horse in front of the cart here. It's
Wait.
basically like, friends, I can use a podcast to force them to hang out with me. Ha ha, the perfect plan.
Okay, you made that analogy work, because it really didn't at first.
It's all the long con, man. It's all the long
No,
con.
you don't put the analogy out first and then go, fuck, how do I make this make sense with what the subject we're talking about?
But he did
Yeah,
make
that's
it.
literally
Sometimes
putting the
I
cart
do
before the
that.
horse.
Yes.
But he proved you wrong. He made it make sense.
Wow, that was an Inception analogy.
No, we can't do this. Marion
why not?
Cotillard just died. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
just
watching the
dream.
movie because honestly, it's the only thing keeping my attention right now.
What? We're having a great conversation about origins.
Yes. Okay, go on.
That was
Yeah,
it. I think we got the whole origin in.
Okay.
But yeah, it came out from that first night, and then I think it was that night we just plotted out exactly what we were going to do with Box Office Pulp. I think we even came up with the name that night.
Oh yeah, we came up with Cody had the name already on him, and I think we mentioned this in
No, he didn't.
No,
he
he
didn't
had
have the name.
Yeah,
No, I'm the one who
I came up with the name. I came up with the name. Just because I remember that I was in a weird place where I would love to put Pulp on something. Because we were bouncing around a bunch of different names.
I'm pretty sure I named it because it's named after Box Office Poison, which is a graphic novel I liked.
I think Box Office Poison came up after the name, though. Not that any of this literally matters.
I had a really dumb name, so I can't take credit for Box Office Pulp at all. I can't remember, but I remember his shit.
Then how do you know it was dumb? Why don't you believe in yourself a little bit more, Cody? Might have been a good name.
That's what I've been saying this whole commentary. Hustle that shit. Be the William Castle of your own life.
I'm so glad we named it Box Office Pulp, just because we can say bop, and that's kind of amusing to me.
I remember you were a little opposed to calling it bop at first. Like, you didn't like the abbreviation.
I don't like abbreviation most of the time. I have to get used to abbreviation. I'm not a fan of the art of abbreviation.
I think you were also very upset because I kept wanting to refer to us as boppers or our fans as boppers, and you're like, no. No.
That's because I'm not a fan of you, Cody.
Oh, okay.
Literally any idea you would come up with, Mike would just be opposed automatically.
What if we end world hunger? No, what if I eat 5 burritos today? Fuck you.
Also, fun fact for the people at home, I think on iTunes it originally said Box Office Pulp by the Pulp Panelists or something like that. Bop Crew came later. So
Bob Panelists. That sounds terrible. I'm glad we got away from that.
I just like Cillian Murphy crying over the Pulp Panelists name that amused me far too much.
He pulls out our old logo and he's like, it's so rudimentary, and he just weeps.
It's still our logo.
No. The original logo I recommended was, I sent you guys one of, like a film frame with a silhouette of like a 1940s detective jumping off a building.
Oh, we should bring that back. I missed that logo.
And Box Office Pulp, we never used it. I recommended it, and then someone else was like, what if we did Kinnison? And we got away from it really fast.
Oh, we gotta use that. Somebody still have it? We have to use it somewhere.
I still have it. Yeah.
I was use it as like avatar on like Twitter or something. I don't know.
It is still a pretty good look. And also you have another banner that we never used that was just Kinnison's head with the Zorro attire, and it's just kind of a basic banner, but it's really classy looking.
I keep telling myself I should go back and finish off like the ABCs of Kinnison.
You should.
Please do.
It's just time consuming, but man, it can be a lot of fun. I want to do one of those animations where it's like 100 different faces, but it's all centered the same way, so you just see the costumes swapping.
I just want to do that as a poster.
Yeah, I want that as a poster so bad. If anybody wants to see the banner Cody's talking about, go to facebook.com/Pulp Podcast Network. It's
awesome because it's
promotion.
It's Kinnison in different movie guises. Like you see Kinnison as a xenomorph, you see Kinnison as
RoboCop.
RoboCop, Snake Plissken. Like he does a great job. He does a better Kinnison than I do, and I drew the original.
And
I literally just copied over top of yours. I just made it cleaner.
Wow, cleaner, huh?
Oh yeah, it's all vectorized. Technically, you can stretch it or shrink it without compression artifacts.
It's so weird hearing us with the distorted voices.
Yes. I personally prefer it.
We're just a series of monsters agreeing with each other.
That's how you could describe the normal podcast, too, though.
He's 100% correct.
I just love how this commentary has devolved into us reminiscing about the podcast's own existence because we're that broken.
Also, I'm looking at the Kinnison poster, and I did one of Guy Fawkes, and now that I've seen Krampus, it just looks like Kinnison is wearing a human being's face over top of himself.
He is. I want to see Kinnison as Krampus.
Doing the like hearing someone do the Cody voice with that distortion is amazing.
I'm a fan.
You know what's sad? We're going to listen to this next year and just tell us, we're just going to say, shut the fuck up about jerking your own podcast off. God, this is obnoxious.
It's really egregious. I'm
already angry.
Terrible. I feel bad for anyone who has listened to this show because it's really just us patting ourselves on the back for like 2 hours.
Well, little does anyone know, this is actually the last episode of Box Office Pulp.
And we throw out our smoke
everybody.
grenades and we vanish. Get the hell out of here.
I still maintain every show that's been around for a couple of years has the right to do this once. Right? We're not like Smodcast, where every fourth episode is us reciting our history.
Oh, you mean
earlier on in the podcast, this commentary, I believe we also shit on Kevin Smith. So now that's tradition too.
James, you also just described every podcast that goes downhill.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the podcast. Not to insult other okay, let's just stop. Let's move on to something else. Cillian Murphy's face is gigantic, but small. Isn't that
also
weird?
Beautiful. Cillian Murphy.
That is
just a
really
beautiful
weird.
man.
Not to shit on Cillian Murphy. Let's talk about something else.
No, I want to talk about how beautiful Cillian Murphy is. Have you guys seen Peaky Blinders?
God, he's attractive. He made an attractive woman that one time, and
what was that movie? Peacock?
Yeah,
Breakfast on Pluto.
Something like that. I don't know.
We'll never know.
Oh, by the way, the other day I was at a pawn shop, and I was going through their movies, and they had Brokeback Mountain and Breakfast on Pluto next to each other, and all I could think was, oh, a kindly old gay man must have died.
God. Oh, is it old Ken Watanabe? Because that's on topic of the movie we're not really watching.
That was terrifying.
I like our Mortal Kombat voices in this scene as we're trying to do Watanabe.
Why are you on Mortal Kombat tonight?
I can't help it. Just keep popping up. Got a one-track mind.
I agree, past Mike. It is disgusting. I don't like food on people's faces. It's really fucking gross. Also, I guess this is necessary again.
We're running out of steam, man. We got like 14 minutes left. Now we're stuck on oatmeal on actor's face.
We were stuck on oatmeal on actor's faces in the original comedy.
That's all to say during the ending of Inception. I'm sorry. That's the only thing you can possibly pull from it.
We've gone too far. Scream!
We just laugh at our old commentary. God damn it.
That's even worse. Besides spending all the time talking about the commentary, we're actually sitting here just laughing about our old jokes.
Do it, Sato. Blow your fucking brains out.
Also, in the old commentary, you made that same joke about a different character. Every time someone's gonna holding a gun, you just recommend they blow their brains out.
It is my go-to for some reason. I'm sure there's, oh god, next year we can do film analysis on me and come up with why that happens.
Well, we did.
Also, the Cillian Murphy movie was Breakfast on Pluto.
Oh.
Hey, I know my queer cinema.
Wom.
But we did riff Cody at the beginning of this commentary, so next year we'll just we'll isolate just your channel and just listen to that, and we'll just comment on Mike as a person.
I don't like us coming up with extra ideas.
Oh man, we got a whole year to plan.
I feel like that would be a 15-minute conversation but it would be beautiful.
Oh, this is the podcast where you finally go into the life story of Mike.
Let them fight indeed.
And how depressing and horrible and spectacular it all is. I am the chosen one, as told to me in Friendlies by that ex-convict.
If you want to listen to that story in full, listen to Pulp Nightmare.
Promotion. Ding.
Ding! God, I cannot wait to go to sleep, by the way.
We just mentioned that they're doing the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie. It's been a year now, and now we've got Kong Skull Island. We're getting closer and closer to that shared universe happening, and I still have all the same concerns as I did a year ago.
Okay, but here's the thing, Cody. You now know who the good guy is.
It's definitely King Kong.
Are you going against the internet, Cody?
Yeah, fight me.
Well, yeah, I did just say that he wants to make love to Jessica Lange, so I guess he's the most sympathetic.
Doesn't? It's the only good part of that goddamn 70s King Kong bullshit movie that sucks.
How do you really feel about the 1970s King Kong, Mike?
It's fucking terrible.
How do you feel about King Kong Lives Again?
I'm indifferent.
Really? The 70s version pisses you off that much, but you get to that one, you're like, it's alright.
The 70s version pisses me off because it should have been good. It should have been so fucking good. The effects of it are pretty good.
It
just should have been better.
You know, it's kind of a coincidence. Yesterday, I actually watched King Kong, the original, for the first time.
Oh, what'd you think?
Oh, it's lovely. I'm amazed at how much that stop motion somehow holds up.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest production accidents in movie history, just the animators' thumbs mushing the hair on King Kong, so it just looks like he's windswept. It's like, oh god, he's alive.
Question, at the end when King Kong was falling off the building, did you laugh out loud because you imagined him landing on the wings?
Yes.
Okay, good. I ruined that for you. Oh, hey, a dinosaur. That counts. That counts as a King Kong reference.
Sure.
He fought dinosaurs. Oh, did it fall? Did it not? I don't know. This commentary's still going, so we have to keep recording another 10 minutes. That's fun.
I'm going to reiterate my thoughts on the ending not mattering in the slightest, like the actual outcome. And we're going to go back to that idea that we get really hung up on fictional universes, and it's hilarious because we treat them as if they're exactly real. Like, the story has to have the top falling over. If it doesn't, then none of this mattered. It's like, well, no, he's making a comment about endings, so we don't need to actually know what happens with these characters. It doesn't matter, they're not real.
Yeah,
after the movie ends, they all die anyways. Like, they technically disappear out of existence.
Well, everybody dies eventually.
It's true.
There's actually something I was going to mention at the beginning of the commentary when we were briefly talking about Inception. But this has been on my mind since watching the Rick and Morty Season 3 surprise premiere. Because between seasons of Rick and Morty, there's been so much dead serious writing about the philosophy of that show, and specifically why Rick is such a monster. Why does he have the philosophy he does? What does Rick and Morty mean? What's the backstory of Rick? And the premiere tells that story, and you see like the horrible, tragic origin of Rick, how his wife and daughter were murdered by alternate versions of himself, and why he decided to become this evil, mad scientist. And it really puts the greater series in a greater context. At the end, it's revealed that none of that's true. Rick is just a horrible monster who does things for no reason because he's not real. He's a funny comedy joke that Dan Harmon drew to make you laugh. Shut the fuck up about it. Which I love because that's the most Dan Harmon thing in the world. No, it's not real. Laugh and then go on with your life.
We were much more succinct in this year's commentary about the ending compared to last year's.
Hey, we were very succinct about the ending last year.
I had a pre-written statement I released like I was retiring from the lake.
I went into a whole thing about like the whole point of it being a comment on film in general and stuff. We made good listen to it, Cody.
That's what I'm saying. Last year we had a whole lot of stuff. This year we're like, and we're done. That's the thing. Shut the fuck up. All this reminds me that we never went through on getting a press release because that'd be hilarious. We can threaten each year now. Like in April, we can be like, Box Office Pulp has decided to do another commentary. You have been warned.
We really should do that. Also, is anybody else trying to figure out whether or not Cody was being complimentary or insulting? And in which direction? Past us or current us?
Wrong.
Future Cody is forgiving of past Cody, whereas past Cody hates future Cody and past Cody.
What?
So past Cody hates all versions of Cody?
I'm so tired. I don't.
Past Cody does not like any of the Codys, whereas future Cody is forgiving of past Cody.
So future Cody went through a whole. So future Cody went through a whole like character arc where he learned to forgive himself for being Cody.
A little bit, yeah. I would say future Cody was beaten down by existence to the point of just no longer having the passion to hate himself.
So he learned apathy.
Yes, that's a perfect way of looking at it.
And I want to learn apathy.
It's a great trick.
I just so self-hating. Everything's horrible and bad, and we should all die.
Yeah, you're getting it.
That's why I have to take this plane we're on down. And it turns out we're on a plane, and I'm taking it into the World Trade Center while MB's watching Dawn of Justice.
Well, I was going to say that was going to be a really nice place to end the commentary, but now I'm not so sure.
I don't know, we can still pull out.
No, we still have fucking like another 5 minutes.
I would love for us to just say fuck it with 5 minutes.
We come this far. And because
there's no way Cody can win.
And the best part is because we didn't go all the way, we go, well, we can't release it. It's not finished.
It's true.
So we just recorded it for no fucking reason.
I don't know who this commentary is for.
Are we? I don't know. It's fucking terrible.
It's not good.
There.
For anyone at
Canada!
home,
I'm just watching the credits here.
The Inception noise happened, as I mentioned, it wasn't good. In the past, not in this time. Although we can make it happen in this time, too, if someone gives me a second to pull up the app. Oh, that's my ringtone. Nope, I want my media noises up, so I can do...
What's your ringtone? Don't play it.
Jesus, Cody.
A little loud.
It's midnight right
now. At least I back it off the mic, thank you.
You're welcome.
Stop.
I'm trying to, but every time I touch my screen, it goes off.
There, I fought Cody.
I hate everything.
Good.
We have to do this again next year.
Hey, we did it, guys. We did it.
Oh, no.
We did the Inception commentary. We accomplished something.
Guys, we
no
didn't
matter how
if we're actually going to release this or not.
I'm sorry if we do, folks at home. This is fucked up. But if one of us dies in the next year, I'll be sad, but I'll also be like, well, thank God we don't have to record that Inception commentary because one of us is dead.
I volunteer.
Okay, so if I find out I have inoperable cancer within the next year, I'll record a commentary for this commentary, and I'll send it to you guys, and you can just comment on my commentary.
But how sad is it going to be if you are diagnosed but you're not dead? And
then I can just do it live.
Over this, and then you say that, and then you just start crying.
I would save that for the very end, too. Like, I would suck you guys in with some fun jokes, and then some coughs, and then at the end, I'd just be weeping.
Well, that would be kind of amazing, because it would make that commentary so relevant.
Here's the thing, though. What if... I'm going to take this in a slightly more extreme direction. What if you record the commentary, You have no idea anything's wrong with you, and you just die suddenly in the middle of it.
That would be kind of interesting. I don't know why someone would send it to you. Like, well, he was recording a thing. This must go to his online.
You're his
Whatever
next
it
of
was,
kin, MB.
Whatever it was, it must have been important. Send it to them.
It's like every time my mouth opens to begin us on a tangent, I want to, like, reach out through time and strangle myself. Because it's like I immediately regret that tangent's existence.
It's filling time. That's all that matters.
How do we still have 2 minutes left?
I don't know. The show's done. We're in like
We
the
have to
foreign
keep
language
going.
warnings.
I think we might be in the after credits scene. I don't think I've heard a theme yet.
Aviso. Yeah.
Why?
We're still giving final thoughts about the thing. Can we all agree the second this commentary is done, we're not rambling at all. We're just gonna be like, fuck it, bye.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to go, like, eat Triscuits quietly and cry.
Perfect.
That's how you end most Tuesday nights, though.
Yeah, you're not far off. Also,
You know
but
what?
I am very excited, guys. I ordered a food scale. It's going to be here tomorrow. Very excited.
Nice.
Awesome.
Just,
You know what? I will end on a slightly positive note. For as excruciating as it has been to record this commentary, and I say that lightly because we're talking over audio, it's not that bad. Like, I do feel better.
what an ending that was.
Wow.
We're ending. Hurry up. Wrap it up, Mike. Or MB.
Hurry up, come on, we only got a minute left.
Okay. I feel better about it than I started because we actually recorded it, and it's good to try new things. There.
Yes, I think we can all agree it's good to try new things.
I don't know, I would rather try, like, pineapple juice over recording this.
Oh, pineapple juice is delicious.
Go to hell.
That's the hill I'll die on. Pineapple juice is fucking awesome.
Jesus, you shot out a cannon for that.
Like I said, I'll
Fine.
fight that one.
Fine. The good news is the commentary's over.
Now get the hell out of here. I'm also not sure they're driving up with me, but the van guys are unpacking all the stuff. So I don't know what their function is in all this, other than like, hey, here's your place. Goodbye.
Making sure they don't beat you up and take all of your money.
Well, they could just charge me for it. Apparently that's how we're going now anyways.
Still all sounds like it's gonna go south so fucking quickly.
Oh, probably. You'll find my head, like, somewhere in the Mississippi.
That's a long way for it to drift. That'd be impressive.
No, actually, on the way over to Minneapolis, I have to cross the Mississippi.
Here's a question. If one of us finds your head, can we keep it?
Yeah, I would, recommend you keep it in a vat of honey to preserve it, but that's up to you.
I specifically just want the skull part because I want something to create a chalice out of.
Cody, I promise you, if I end up with your head, I am going to Minneapolis, finding that apartment, and I'm burying you in the floor.
Oh man, I got rid of my mannequin heads, by the way. So, I took one, and I told a friend I was just gonna send him a box of junk.
God damn it.
So I got a box of junk from my apartment that I didn't want anymore, and then I stuffed the mannequin head on top, underneath, like, just above a bunch of, like, crushed up packing paper. It looks just like the end of Seven. And I didn't tell him I'm sending him a severed mannequin head in the mail. One of my other friends was like, oh, so what are you going to do with the other mannequin heads? And I'm like, oh, do you want some for your office? And he said yes. So, the University of Southern California, he has his own office in their grad department. I mailed a box with 2 mannequin heads stuffed inside of it to his office. So he gets to open it up while, like, there are students around and stuff, so he can just place these mannequin heads somewhere around his room.
Oh yeah, how's the upper hand?
I was thinking one mannequin head for him at first, and the other one I wanted to bury in Wausau. However, the area where I was going to bury the head, they found a dead guy a couple months ago, so probably not the best thing to do. I don't want to get the police too alarmed. So I just sent him away. It was kind of like I don't want you no more, boys, and then I put the mannequins in a box and sent them.
I do feel like you should have kept one and then just wrote box office pulp guy across the forehead.
I mean, I can always get more mannequin heads. They come and go.
No, you don't get to say that. You never in life get to say, oh, I can just get more mannequin heads. Because then it's just Maniac.
I'm not getting the whole mannequin, just the heads.
No, that's worse.
I might have one sitting around somewhere, actually, because I turned one into a shrimp bowl, but I don't remember what I did with it afterwards.
Can we start the fucking commentary?
No, Mike has to pee first.
Yes.
I'm gonna go take another piss, because that was 20 minutes of my life.
I'm going to do the same because that was hilarious. Alright, I'm back.
As am I.
Woo!
The fuck was
Hey.
that?
Words with friends. I scored
Did you
23
words
points.
with friends while we were taking piss breaks?
Yeah, ironically, I just played the word pee.
I'm not doing this tonight, man!
This is Box Office Pulp Guy, and this has been a Pulp Podcast production. Now please, 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 put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger and say goodnight.
And now, on with the show.